Yes, hello. And today it's a WNR359. It is time for NXT update, but I am not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, man? You all right?
Oh man, I'm doing good. Thankful as always to be back here, and man, I can't wait to get into the action. Let's catch up, man.
Well, it just seems so long ago that the last time we kind of met up to talk NXT, but it's only a month. But I think because we say we just want it to be closer together, you know?
Exactly, and time flies, man. I can't believe it, like how fast everything just go by. It's Tuesday again before you know it. when
Yeah.
and I literally they catch me by surprise. As much as I like the new time slot and all of that, the day right after Raw, and I usually don't even finish those episodes. At this point, it's been tough. It's been tough, but yeah, man, I'm glad to be back, and so much can happen in 4 or 5 weeks, man. 4 weeks.
Well, without a doubt. So not only have we got 4 episodes of NXT to catch up on, but also a lot of news as well. So it is going to be a jam-packed show. And of course, we're on the cusp of Takeover. As everybody listens to this, Takeover in your house is literally a couple of hours away. So we will run through the cards later. But let's get to it straight away. It's the 18th of May, the very first episode. We get a nice promo open up the main event cage match, but we start with Toni Storm versus Zoe Stark, and we see Stark sending Storm reeling early until she managed to recover and threw her into the steel stairs. She's going to beat down the NXT newcomer. The former title holder responded with a Storm Zero, then took a shocking near fall only. In frustration, she pulled out a bold new finish maneuver, a kind of modified brainbusters score, an emphatic win. What were your thoughts on this match?
Man, I really liked the way they put this match together. You can already see the progression not only in Zoe Stark's, like how much better she's getting. Zoe Stark, like she's getting her progression is shown well in this match, but also the storytelling of, like, the Storm Zero. I don't know. I can't really think how many people I've watched kick out of it. It's one of those things that does not happen often. I love when a pretty much protected finisher. That's what protecting a finisher is all about. When they are not protected, it makes some people hate it, but I love it when it's done right and sparsely. It's done when it's sparsely enough to where it doesn't, diminish the move. But bringing out a new finisher always is a great time to get your old finisher kicked out of. So I really love that spot too, the finisher. I've never seen that maneuver before by anyone, much less used by Toni Storm. So it was just great. It was a great debut of a new move, and I think Zoe Stark represented herself well again also. So I liked it.
I thought, yeah, like you said, it's a really good match and a secondary women's feud that actually meant something. Because going into it, like I said, Zoe Stark was a kind of the newcomer, and then going into this one, you're kind of thinking, Stark might actually pull this one off. And to do that, it means like she's become a legitimate threat. And of course, Toni Storm can carry that because we kind of consider her as a top contender as well,
Exactly. I think using Storm's status, I think this is a great example of how to elevate someone who, has the talent, but someone who's not as known as their opponent. That's just great use of, like you said, the way we look at Toni Storm as, like you said, not only a top contender in NXT, but one of the best female wrestlers in the world in general. So, using that status, using her talent to bolster and elevate someone like Zoe Stark, who was new to a lot of our television screen. I thought this was a very good example of creating a star in a way.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Let me see the lights going out. Storm was trying to celebrate, and Frankie Monet arrived to promote her debut next week. So we talk about an incredible division, already adding someone that we know, obviously seen her before, what she's going to do to the division as well,
I thought this was a great touch, and I also love the fact that it's like in a movie trailer format. The way they just talked about it's going to be the greatest debut ever. Like, we can already pretty much expect, what was coming, but at the same time, the build up for it. I love how they're trying to. Okay, you guys should take Frankie Monet seriously. This is someone you want to watch, and I really like their presentation of her so far before she even stepped in the ring. They've done a good job of letting you know, like with the involvement with Gonzalez and then coming out and making her entrance here. I thought that they've been doing a really good job of presenting her as important from the beginning.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, we see the Gala del Fantasma talk about MSK, but Massive Champion Timmy Thatcher say let it go back of the line. And Thatcher says, hell, El Gato no tiene zapatos, which is the cat has no shoes. Legado says that makes no sense. And Jump says, yes, it does. It means challenge accepted. And now we go to a video package from LSA of Cameron Grimes arriving at the building, telling someone to be his valet. The guy tosses his keys to Jay Catless, says no, only Ted DiBiase gets a valet for his parking spot. So Grimes says he'll beat him up in the ring tonight. And we go to a commercial. And when we come back, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were having a spa day. They have a cucumber facials on, so they don't realise Dexter Lumis is the one giving them the massages. Although he leaves in disgrace after Hartwell agrees with LeRae that he's such a loser. That's a poor guy. I mean, is this the end of Index? I mean, this is just brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, man, it's so well done. I do have a lot of questions about, does he go through the hiring process at this massage parlor, or does he, I don't know if you play video games, but Hitman, I like the Hitman video game series, and in that series, the agent can dress up in many different ways to take out his target. So it's just I imagine him dressing up as a masseuse and just taking out some poor masseuse just got choked out.
Yeah, he's gonna open up a cupboard. They're gonna open up the cupboard. You're gonna have a couple of masseuses who fall out, who put to sleep while stroking them.
Please check on exactly. Check on this unnamed masseuse who was probably unconscious in a closet somewhere. But anyway, this is brilliant, and oh my goodness, the way Indy is selling this, she believes in what they're having her doing right now, and you could just tell, and I love it. I love it when you can see the performer enjoying what they're doing, and I think she's tackled this character, and she really is into it, and I love her presentation so far, and even Candice with and how they presented her as still kind of like a motherly figure, trying to protect Indy, but at the same time, doing it in such a shady, the way. So yeah, I really like this segment. It was brilliant,
But the thing is, and people have been quite hard on NXT recently, and then when you try and defend it or say something else, people say, oh well, you're just as bad as everybody else, kind of thing. But my thing is with this is that wrestling or not, or whatever it is, I think if you look at Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell, all I ask is that a wrestler gives 100%. Just buy into this gimmick 100%. You look at the best wrestlers in the history of the world, they bought into themselves, from Stone Cold or The Rock or whatever it is. And you look at what Cameron Grimes is giving. This is something we've appreciated the past year of him given this character, and we knew that he's going to give everything he's got to it. The same with Dexter Lumis, the same with The Way. And the reason why it's so entertaining is because they are fully behind it, and even though it is funny, it's still serious in a way, if you know what I mean. I can't quite explain, but I would rather watch that than someone giving it half-assed in the gimmick,
Agreed. At the end of the day, it is entertainment. You can say we can dress it up however we want. I love professional wrestling. I understand, some people hate the term sports entertainment or whatever it is you want to call it. But even in professional wrestling, I find professional wrestling as a science. I find that entertaining, and even some of this stuff, the characters, the story. At the end of the day, it's about telling a good story, and like you said, if you're gonna get that story across, and if you want people to believe in what you're presenting, the people who are playing these characters has to be 100% in it. You know what I mean? I agree 100%, especially when it comes to somebody like Loomis, because I don't know how you could keep a straight face and play his character without believing that you are who you are presenting on my screen, because it's impossible sometimes with some of the things he's just asked to just stand blank, stand and stare blank through. I don't see how you can not bust out laughing when Indy Hartwell runs out screaming something, and doing some of the things. But again, like you said, it's the total investment into their characters, and that's why it works.
This is the thing, and he's a babyface, and the reason it shouldn't work, but it's like we talk about, he's knocking off masseurs to stalk a woman, but the fact is we bought into it, and if he was playing it kind of any other way, we would say, oh, this is, but I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying it, especially like, what we've got coming up as well. Just for me, it's just if you don't, and I get this voice made where people go, well, funny doesn't equal money, but it's entertaining, and that's, like you said, is what it's about, is to watch a 2-hour show after 20 hours of wrestling in a week and be, do you know what, that's a little bit different because I'm actually finding it quite funny,
Exactly.
Well, anyway, so we spent too much on that point. We'll move on. This sends us to a video package previewing the Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor rematch next week. We see Heyman and McAfee as talking heads. And then we move on to Cameron Grimes versus Jake Atlas. And he says, everybody thinks it's funny that Ted DiBiase keeps embarrassing Cameron Grimes, but wait until you see the real Ted DiBiase hit it. Then Grimes throws a video package on screen. DiBiase being handed his ass time after time in vintage with skits. He gets pinned by Virgil. He gets slot thrown him, and so on and so on. Did you watch this and think, God, they did bury $1 Million Man sometimes, didn't they?
When you look at that reel, it makes you wonder. It's like, did he ever end up prevailing at the end of any of those? Like, I know he won up some people time to time and definitely embarrassed a lot of fans. But the way that reel was edited, it would just have you believe that he'd spent a lot of time paying for his character.
And then it's like, did you win a belt? Oh yeah, I bought one myself. Right. So, well, that's not really the same, is it?
Doesn't really count. Yeah. Agreed, man. Agreed. Like, and that's exactly what it is. As a matter of fact, if you're a kid or you're younger and you didn't get a chance to check out, how good he was in the ring, you may believe that Ted DiBiase was just some jobber who created it so bad he had to create his own belt. Yeah, he's just a wealthy jobber.
Made RVD kiss his feet a couple of times. Like, it's just weird dude. Like, anyway, we see back to the match. Atlas getting planted on the crossbar, start celebrating, but DiBiase's music interrupts. $1 Million Man walks out to the top of the ramp, smiling and laughing. He said, "I'm right here, big boy." And sure enough, Atlas rolls him up for the pin. DiBiase laughs at the clown, as he should. Graham chases DiBiase to his limo outside. DiBiase mocks him again, and the limo driver pulls away before our commercial. The winner of the contest is Jake Atlas. What are your thoughts on this?
I thought it was, well done. The match was, was what it was. I don't think that this was about the wrestling per se as much as it was about advancing the DiBiase Cameron Grimes rivalry, which is hilarious in my just saying it to myself when I think about it, that DiBiase a rivalry at this point. But yeah, I thought it accomplished the goal, because at this point I think before this they've only been doing backstage bits and certain things, and, but it was nice to finally get to see DiBiase come out there and kind of get the last laugh in this retrospect. And then it was cool for Jake Atlas too, for someone who, in my opinion, who has a lot of talent and has room to grow also. I think it's nice for him to get that victory or to get that position, even if it was a little cheap. Not even a little cheap, totally due to Ted DiBiase. But either way it goes, I thought it just accomplished this goal. And that sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes it's not about the wrestling, not about having a 30-minute, spot fest or whatever it is, or grappling contest. Sometimes it's about just, putting two guys out there and achieving the goal of advancing the story.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I put the notes at the time and saying, like, they have an end game. I mean, either Grimes is christened $1 Million Man or a new one fused with Grimes. And of course, we'll see what happens as NXT update continues. But as I put here as a note before I ranted earlier, Cameron will give 100%. And then we see a video package where Bronson Reed promises to make 14 years of blood, sweat and tears worth it to his wife tonight. I think he means in the main event, not later. But then again, we never know.
Never know.
We never know. The Pete Dunne interview segment. I love how angry Pete Dunne is at all time. He asks Pete Dunne about his future goals. He says, "I used to be someone that sets goals, but now I just take opportunities as they come. It's time to go after the NXT title. I'd be lying if it wasn't glaringly obvious thing for me, right? I've conquered the UK, and now I'm here, and finally it's time to conquer the US." What I'll say about Pete Dunne is one thing I'm quite interested in, and he said it outside of this as well, where he doesn't want to be defined by his UK title run. And for me, that's kind of why I love Pete Dunne so much, holding the title for nearly 2 years of that. But is he right? Does he need to kind of get away from that to kind of not just be marked with the, that's the guy I had the long title run in NXT UK?
I think it's time. I think it's time for him to either, like he mentioned, finally getting over the NXT championship, hump and winning that, or, something, main roster related. Anything else, I do think after a while it is, what have you done for me lately? And he's had great matches and great performances. Don't get me wrong, since that reign. But again, I think a lot of times it's hard to think of Pete Dunne without thinking about that reign. I still, until of course, Walter, took over the way he has. And that's another reason why, because it used to be Pete Dunne's face whenever I thought of the NXT UK title. Now there's no way you can think of that belt without thinking about Walter. So, when you think about it that way, and you think about how Walter's reign have not overshadowed, because I'd be doing Pete Dunne a disservice, because he had a very impressive and lengthy reign that deserved the respect it received. But it's time for Pete Dunne to do, to accomplish something else, to maybe get another lengthy reign at another, of another title. I can understand as a performer not wanting to just be known or attached to that one reign. You want to be attached as just a great wrestler in general, not just the best of NXT UK or one of the best of NXT UK. So I definitely I like that also, that is expressed from his character on television, that that he wants. It's time for something new, time for Pete Dunne to show and also back up a lot of his claims. He's been saying he's the toughest guy in NXT for a long time now, or at least it feels like a long time. He's been claiming to be the toughest. So it's time for him to go out there, and the best way to prove it is by finally winning the NXT championship. But I definitely think it's time for something new when it comes to his character.
Well, that's what we'll get on to. But first, just say that with Pete Dunne, Walter's title reign is like Darth Vader, right? That's how I compare. Walter is Vader.
Great
but
point.
the thing is with Dunne is his title reign built a brand. And it's fact I can review NXT UK every month now, thanks to what he started. And I can see wrestlers that I saw locally to me, which is kind of, I know people in America will go, well, we see guys that all the time. But in Britain, it wasn't the case like that, and to be able to have a show that focuses on these, I mean, it's had they've got Kaylee Ray, Miko Satomura match as well. Of course, we're going to look at, and it's built from kind of what Pete Dunne has done. But do you think the character of Pete Dunne, the character of I'm the baddest man, he goes in the ring and he kicks the shit out of you, how is that a bad guy? Like, does he need some, I'm not saying like a gimmick, I'm not saying like come out with a cloak, but like, does he need to maybe change it up a little bit just to get to that next level himself?
I think either that, or they need to partner him up with someone that is hard to hate. And I'm not saying Finn Balor was or that is like, I think Finn Balor is a good example of someone who's hard to hate, but he's still a little edgy in his character too. But if you put him in the ring and let him rough up a couple, I'm not saying he needs a feud with Drake Maverick, but someone like a Drake Maverick who you can't do nothing but have sympathy for while he's in there getting tortured. You know what I mean? Maybe more situations like that. I remember, feeling like, okay, again, though, it's still hard. It's really hard with Pete Dunne, because like you said, he's so, not only does his wrestling style back up what he claims, he's unique with that wrestling style. It's not like any other heel on NXT when he does it, like when he wrestles the way he wrestles. So it's hard to not look at him and be like, he's everything he claims. And a lot of times that's what happens when you are the bad guy. Some of the best anti-heroes, no matter if it's wrestling or film, whatever it is, you understand where they're coming from as the evil bad guy. So that's how you end up rooting for it. So I think that's something that as a character is hard when you're claiming he's the baddest man, and then you watch him in the ring breaking fingers and being more vicious than anyone else. Like, for example, they present Cross as probably the baddest man, and of course with his record, it's hard to argue that. But with the wrestling style, how can you look at what Pete does and not say he is almost more dangerous than Cross the way he fights? If you see what I'm saying, you know what I mean? So I understand how hard it can be, because I watch his matches sometimes. As much as I try to, I don't, like you said, I don't get angry at him. I'm more just like, whoa.
Yeah, there's not a Pete Dunne match that I've watched that I've not enjoyed, and it's due to the style, with kind of the British infusion to it as well. But it's not boring. It's not a Randy Orton sleeper hold for 10 or 15 minutes. And even the submission and everything that he does, and I think that's a certain style from the UK as well that he's got. But like you said, it's all there, but it just maybe needs something else just to kind of reach where he needs to go. But of course, we're gonna have
the
more.
best bad guys ever have always had that guy, that baby face, or someone that the people believed in to help them also. And I think that's what he's missing. That next rival that could, people could get behind and then watch Pete, tear him down limb by limb and just, tug at your heartstrings while it's going on. I don't know who that could be, but I'm just saying I think that'll help Pete get over even more as a.
Well, again, I'm not diving into fantasy booking, but that'd be an excellent storyline with Cross if it was over a couple of month period of done like systematically just breaking down bits and bits of arm, and it's like a robot, taking the arm, taking the leg, and then when he finally gets to take over, the whole robot just falls apart, and Dunn's kind of dissecting it. So how do you beat a monster like Cross? Well, that's what he's done, so to speak. Anyway, we'll move on from that. And Alexander Wolf was finally cleared to compete against Killian Dane. Little did he know. But anyway, we've got the match, and Drake Maverick accompanies Dane to the ring, but he's still afraid of Four Horseman style beatdown. Wolf eats a massive German suplex, and Marcel Barthel slides a steel chair into the ring. Ref tries to take the chair away, and the distracted Wolf gets leveled by Dane for the pin. Maverick jumps on his back to celebrate as Dane looks down as an opponent. This was barely a match. It was almost a squash. And the Horseman beatdown isn't for Drake Maverick. It's for Alexander Wolf. Barthel and Fabian Eichler give him the Imperium Bomb and strike a pose afterwards. I was shocked at this because we talked about NXT UK just a second ago. Imperium, and especially Alexander Wolf's kind of been like the veteran in the group holding it all together. I was shocked that they broke up at this point in time.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know what to think. Of course, not too long after this, we got more information, but yeah, it was definitely a shocking thing. I figured it was coming because I think either the week before this or at least before this match, they kind of looked at each other after he walked off and kind of teased this, that maybe it's some dissension there, or maybe Wolf, cares too much about Dane and that's the reason why you should, let him go or whatever. But yeah, still a very shocking moment nonetheless. The match, it was what it was, but it was all about that beat down at the end, and I'm not sure. What do you think this means for Imperium going forward here? Because I honestly didn't, I had no clue what that meant for them right when it happened. I actually wrote that down.
Well, the thing is, I actually hopefully wrote down, hopefully we'll get Wolf, Maverick and Dane versus Imperium. But whilst Volta is the dominant champion in NXT UK, you've got Eichner and Barthel here. It's not a proper stable, and it's kind of not the past year and a half. The four guys haven't been together for a very long time. So the kind of only thing holding this together is Volta, and I don't know if they're going to add members. I think if they want to expand the group, maybe, or they might just go separate ways. Because no offense to Imperium, but I don't think Volta needs them when eventually, if he ever drops the championship, he's going to come over to NXT and he's going to be straight in the main event, and he's not going to need Barthel and Elizabeth,
I agree 100%. That's the one thing about Imperium is, as nice as I think it all goes together, especially with the theme music and all of them walking together. I know they've been dominant together for a long time, but I agree. Everyone knows that they go as Walter goes. As soon as I honestly, I've been thinking about this too. I don't know if this is what everyone else is thinking, but as soon as that title is dropped, if we can't get a Cross versus Walter experience at some point, whether it's over the belt or whether it's not, we'll be really missing out on something that I think that could be special, especially the way they're both being built as so unbeatable right now. But as far as the rest of Imperium goes, I always felt that way, even when in that recent NXT Tag Team title run, without all of them at full strength, something was missing there. The in-ring work has always been great from everyone involved, but without like you said, Volta, even when Wolf wasn't around, it was a lot. It was something there. It's just missing. So like you said, I don't know if they're just gonna go their separate ways and Walter would appear later in NXT alone, or from now on alone. But like again, this moment accomplished the goal, and with finding out what we found out after this,
Yeah.
I think I think this everything that needed to be done was done.
Well, I think without doubt, and Volta versus cross match, we've got to be Godzilla versus King Kong as well. But we'll move on. We see a backstage interview with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, because I said I beat Mercedes and I've no problem with telling her I respect her. Kai said, I, on the other hand, would have kicked her head off. Everrise interrupts Kai is trying to explain where they go for the women's tag team title again. Gonzalez says, who are you? They put a banner for their show, Everrise Live. And Gonzalez slaps his shit out, whichever one was mouthing off to her. Oh, the poor young bucks getting treated like that, eh? I mean, come on.
Oh my goodness! But first of all, by the way, the one who got hit is an idiot, because he literally begged for it. He was like, "You want to take a shot at me? Or do you really think she won't?" She was bigger than him, and he had the nerve to think that she wouldn't pop him in the face. Oh, he got what he deserved.
Well, she slapped bears that walk by her, so you know what I mean. Like, she doesn't care who you are, how big you are. But anyway, move on to the next match: Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher versus Legado del Fantasma. Ciampa and Thatcher have matching gear and their own titles on team video now, or maybe I'm just noticing the gear in the entrance video for the first time. I'm not sure how long they've had that, but obviously they are a team now, and we see Thatcher can get involved conventionally, so he had to run into the match. During the commotion, Grizzly Young Veterans blasted Ciampa on the apron. They set up Legado del Fantasma to take the win with their tag team finisher. What were your thoughts on this one?
I thought the match was great. I thought what Legado did was very, very smart. If you're going to fight these two tough guys, you're going to have to definitely keep one of them away, because they're just, that's another thing. I love how dangerous together. I just believe, even with them, with their limited experience together, I just know with not only the presentation of Ciampa over the years, but even with the I don't know, I guess it's been a little over a year now that Thatcher has been on NXT television, and he's always been presented as one tough, dangerous bastard. And I think they work. That's what I like the most about their team, is that they are presented as dangerous bastards, and they wrestle like dangerous bastards. As a matter of fact, that's probably my tag team name for them, Dangerous Bastards.
Anyway. Well, I am. You know what? That is going to be the official name now, I think, because we talk about bastards going against the Grizzled Young Vets coming up as well. We talk about Legado del Fantasma. Though. In recent weeks, they've actually seemed like a bigger deal, and getting a victory over the Dangerous Bastards is, quite a big deal, isn't it?
I agree. I think their presentation, again, all three of the entire faction have been presented beautifully. At first, I thought that they were going, more leaning towards just presenting Santos as a way, but after focusing on his cruiserweight title reign and giving him, the balls per se, and letting him run as the leader, I think not only his elevation has elevated those two, and they're low key, like we say, they may not get a lot of, press about it, but their match input, when they get a chance, even when it was in the tag team tournament against Lucha House Party or whatever, I really enjoy when they're in the ring. So I agree 100%. Legado has definitely improved, and they just feel more important as the weeks have gone by.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. And then we see someone talk about who didn't know what was going on with the weeks gone by, Bobby Fish, who has finally turned on his TV and knows what's going on. And he was explaining his actions last week, saying, I'm back now, and that means that there's a debt to be paid. And I can't think of a better place to start than with Pete Dunne. You claim you're the match that nobody wants, and I find that funny, because the only match I'm interested in, turn up next week, because the business between you and I'm going to finish it. I mean, Bobby's arm looked gnarly, I will say that. What are your thoughts on Bobby Fish versus Pete Dunne coming up?
I thought Bobby Fish looked insane, and not because and of course I understand it was a history. They are the reason for his injury, kayfabe wise or whatever. I'm not sure if they actually hurt him. I don't know. Maybe it was a particular. I think they did it. Yeah. It makes sense now that I think back to my head. But anyway, besides that, We understand that, it's revenge for the injury, but I must say that the way Pete Dunne has been literally begging for people to come for him, that's not the first person I want to challenge when I'm coming off a major surgery. I don't care if he hurt me in the first place. I just feel pretty stupid trying to fight someone like him who literally enjoys Pete Dunne and Timothy Thatcher are the two guys you do not want to fight coming off an injury. They literally like breaking limbs. This is what they want to do. This is their goal. Breaking limbs, hurting phalanges in Pete's case. So, like,
well, you can imagine the conversation, can't you? It's like in a match, and Fisher's like, right, whatever you do, Pete, don't touch my left arm because it really, I'm just going. Dunne's like, thanks, mate, and then just like rips it off, hits him over the head with it. That's that kind of thing.
You're playing right into his game, and that's the only problem I had with it, even though I understand it from a storytelling aspect.
We get a Diamond Mine promo, then we go back to the spa, and Candice Ray credit card is declined. Hartwell and LeRae try to blame it on Austin Theory ordering pizzas. The clerk says there was an unpaid charge. This is great detail as well. The clerk says it was an unpaid charge from 3 weeks ago from a florist. Hartwell puts 2 and 2 together and realises that the flowers sent to Shotzi and Ember Moon by Loomis didn't come from Loomis. They came from the Ray. And then, you know what that means? He still loves me. He still loves me. And she runs off excited as LeRae looks disgusted that her ruse has been exposed. Index is alive.
Yes, Index is definitely. Oh, man, Belle Phoenix reaction. The excitement in her voice when she saw how happy Indy was it made me happy, by the way.
Oh my god.
I must say, like you point out, I don't think this is the only thing I have to say. Candice was not mad enough for the detailed investigation into why her card was declined. That is not how I've ever remembered it ever working. I've had my card not work or decline before in the past, and I don't remember them ever giving me a detail.
I know I had that in the restaurant. In the restaurant, I was there. They went, "Sorry, sir, you can't pay for your meal. Why? This Swedish penis pump that you ordered a month." Ruined the work office meal. I will tell you.
Exactly. Like, oh man, I'm sorry. Your $50 browser subscription. Yeah, you really been giving it up on OnlyFans.
Yeah, your Pornhub premium has really gone up recently.
God, what are you doing, man? Like, how do I not want to? How did Candice not want to choke the lady out for going into this detail right in front of me? Like, what are you doing?
And you've ruined the christening. That's what you've done here. That's what you've done. Anyway, we see Austin Theory with Johnny Gargano. He says he's untouchable, as we see the way hand signed. Then we get Aliyah, or Nymph, as she was known, with Robert Stone and Jessica Meir versus Sarai. Jessica Meir drags Sarai early to allow Aliyah to land a few impressive strikes against the Warrior of the Sun. Got a hand Sarai caught Aliyah with a missile dropkick and a running dropkick into the ropes that set the victory off a modified Saito suplex. What were your thoughts on this?
Like I said, at first I was going to say something about Aliyah, but I feel like every time she's on the show, I've disrespect her, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to do it. I was just about to do it on accident, but anyway. I thought this match was what it was. It was another one of those displays for Sarai and let everyone know what she can do. The only problem is, okay, all right, I tried. You can't. Anytime you fight Aliyah, we pretty much know what to happen. It's hard to keep your attention. It's like I try to focus on what's going on, but it's like, all right, Aliyah's gonna, maybe she'll get one move. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what happened. I watched this match and I was just trying to count how many moves of offense Aliyah got in this match, and I think I only saw like 3. Was that? I think that was pretty tame. That wasn't disrespectful, right?
No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll move on, and we see Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon say they're going to be back for the titles before you know it. Ember Moon said we're going to be TCB, and Black said with Ember's Law, baby, and that's what she said. But Hit Row in action next, and we get Hit Row versus Tony Nese and Daivari. And I think we talked about Tony Nese being a great athlete, but just having no personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
But anyway, we see all 4 members of the Row pose at the top of the ramp before swaggering away to the ring. It informs us that Ashanti, Lee Adonis, and Top Dollar AJ Francis will be the men in action. Top Dollar power slam Davari while flipping Tony Nese off his shoulders. Yes, I said that right. And then Adonis lost control in this match, talking smack and beating down Davari until he be pulled away by Dollar, who finished the match with a fireman's carry suplex. Hit Row made their statement after focusing on his eyes where Scott's desire to be NXT North American champion. What were your thoughts on this?
I thought this was a great way to establish, mostly Top Dollar, but, Hit Row as a team. I'm pretty sure that Adonis and Top Dollar will be the tag team representative for Hit Row for now, if you want to even consider this a full-fledged. They're pretty much a faction. I think this is a great way of establishing them in the tag division. The match, only thing I have to say about the match, like you said, poor Tony Nese, even Davari, like those guys are not jobber level talent if you've watched them in the ring before. I think they've had great matches, not only on 205 Live, but recently probably. I don't watch 205 Live. I'm not the only one in there.
No one does.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's checking for 205 Live, unfortunately for those guys. But I think we all know there's a lot of talent, a lot of guys who are really good on 205 Live. And Tony Nese and Davari are a couple of those guys. But the thing is, I think this is mostly about getting Top Dollar some reps and showing off what he could do. Because even in this match, Ashanti Adonis he was, I don't know. He's obviously going to be the bump guy for them going forward. Even though, I don't know. I think he's okay, but I haven't really watched much Adonis as time went by. But Top Dollar was the star here, and we'll see what else in the tag division Hit Row will be able to do going forward.
Yeah, I like Hit Row. I will say about Top Dollar, I hate former American football players becoming wrestlers most of the time because of the fact of that it's their second, third, fourth choice. It's I want to be a wrestler, big man, anything like this. Like Mojo Rawley is a guy I hated for many a year, and I wasn't that well. But like I say, it's just it's one of those things where I don't know. But the jury will be out with him because, like I said, it's for a big man. For his first couple of matches, wherever it was impressive spots. But as you said, there's no way Davari and Nese should be treated like that. But we move on to our main event. Johnny Gargano, the North American champion, versus Bronson Reed in a steel cage match. And we see Johnny wrestling, diving for the exit immediately, but Reed caught him. We see the crossbone brutalized Gargano, slamming his NXT North American champion. And he took over when he tripped Reed off the top rope. Fury tried to help from the outside, but the crossbone was too resilient. Reed planted the champion with a second rope Samoan drop. In response, Gargano hit a top rope powerbomb. This set him up to start crawling to the exit where Theory nearly pulled him free. Theory grabbed the door and was sent hard into the cage wall for its effort. Gargano found an open for a Poison Rana to set up a one final beat, but Reed countered and knocked him into the cage. Theory slammed the door in Reed's face, sending him careening back into the one final beat for the near fall. Gargano tried a top rope powerbomb for his trouble, and after Theory got involved again, Reed changed plans and hit a springboard splash into the tsunami to win. What were your thoughts on this incredible main event?
It's just like you just said. It was a great match. Incredible stuff from both guys. I thought it was a great culmination to the story that they've been telling with Bronson Reed, kind of off and on since that ladder match, or since before that ladder match at a takeover last year. I don't know which one it was, but it was the big North American Championship ladder match that they all had. And Bronson was so close to winning at that time. So I was really happy that he finally got over the hump and, was able to, claim this title. And in just great fashion. These guys, I wasn't really expecting anything less as far as the quality of the match. Not only has Reed shown that he can perform great in these spots, but we all know what Gargano can do. And that's the ring general. I figured, and a steel cage involved, I figured this would be really good. I loved how, the Colossal champion looked. Not only would he not be stopped in the typical babyface fashion with Theory, butting in, but he also just at every turn, even though Gargano had his great, very, very smart moments, and it looked like Gargano could still win it, at every turn, you just knew that it was nothing that was going to stop Reed on this night. And I thought that was the overall story that they told. And that tsunami at the end, all I know is that I wonder, what do you think when you're in Gargano's position and you just laying there, waiting for this guy to jump from the top of the cage, and I know he's a professional, he's going to protect you, but man, that has got us to be a terrifying sight.
Well, the thing is, like, is that a piano? Oh no, shit! Like, that kind of, and like I said, it was brilliant. And Austin Theory flopping around at ringside, being a dickhead that he is. Johnny Gargano being the Bret Hart of NXT, shall we say? Do you know what I mean? As a consistent worker, and Bronson Reed with, I will say, hints and of Keith Lee, of that kind of the big guy you can kind of get behind, because NXT with the kind of big badass baby faces, they kind of don't really come around that often. And I think, like, well, we can get behind Reed now and see where he can go, because, like I said, I was really happy, and it's not like he's someone that I've gone, oh, this is some guy I'm watching. It's just the story into it and the match kind of caught me in the moment. And I thought, now I'm interested to see where this is going to go now.
I agree. I think as long, like, when you have that's the great thing about long-term storytelling and booking, and just like when you're watching a show and you see how someone evolve, and like a guy who you like, or he's really good in the ring, and you just see time and time again he comes up short, or something happens, injury, something, gets in the way, and finally he gets over that hump, and then it's against someone like Gargano, who has been, like just really good. Like, of course, I don't care. Some people have a problem with, like you said, how much he can make you laugh as a heel, but he has been so obnoxious also, and so reasonably such an asshole. Let's just be honest, that it was perfect, to have someone like Reed be the one to knock him down and, take the belt from him. And it's crazy to me when you think about it, because like you said, usually, historically speaking, Bronson Reed should. I remember back in the day, big guys were not supposed to be able to get sympathy, especially when you're going against someone that small, or that much smaller than you. And that just shows you how good they are, how good Gargano is as a wrestler, but also as a character, to where, you're rooting for the guy who probably isn't the underdog, even though he still feels like the underdog because he hasn't been able to get over that hump. So it's just a great storytelling in this match.
Yeah, and the thing is about Johnny Wrestling as well, the thing of Gargano himself, is that we have seen every version of a person that we can in NXT with Gargano, whether it will be kind of the goofiest comedy character in the world to the most serious of heels, because that feud with Ciampa, he went elsewhere in that one to kind of get the job done, so we've seen him kind of be a killer, we've seen him being technical, the Gargano escape and all this. So even when he first joined, kind of, 205 Live and the Cruiserweight, but it's just each character he can do, heel or face, and it's just like we should bow down to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we realise how good he is at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree. Like you mentioned, he's able to get over as a serious heel. He's able to make you laugh. He's able to show off his smarts. He's able to he was really great at getting sympathy from us all, especially in that original DIY feud. Just like he's always loved him as a babyface, and how he's great at getting sympathy, great at doing awesome things. And he had his own story that, again, depending on how long you've been watching, that Gargano is a perfect person to be a gatekeeper in that situation, because he was in the same boat in many of his title chases earlier in his NXT career. Kind of similar to the way I loved how Daniel Bryan was the guy standing in front of Kofi's way, because he was literally faced in a similar situation years prior with, guys like Randy Orton, Triple H, Batista being in his way. So it's just, I love storytelling like that, when it's a guy who overcame, the odds themselves, but now has been corrupted by being so good for so long, to where they're trying to stop other young talent. And, it's just a great revolving story if you think about it, and something you can always do. So I think that it was just all good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Now we got to the news, and WWE released Alexander Wolf, Skylar Story, and as the judge, reporting budget cuts, and then also We got a report from Mike Johnson, the PW Insider, that Jasmine Duke and Vanessa Bourne let go. So the news, like I said, provides some context what happened on Tuesday. But I mean, pretty fucking harsh to break up from Imperium one night and be released the next day. But Alexander Wolf said, just for the record, my contract for WWE expired on June 15th. That means I'm a free agent by June 16th. I have a lot in my head right now, so let's keep it short. Thank you, NXT, for 6 years. Bye-bye. It's a talk about going out the back door. You know, did he deserve better?
Oh, man. Honestly, everyone, it's hard to say how much better he deserved with so many people who've been thrown to the wayside, but the entire Sanity deserved better, if we're being honest. Overall, if you just remember their run together as Sanity, they deserve, like, whether you want to say in WWE in general, they all deserve better. Like, even currently now with the stuff they're doing, Nikki Cross. I love Nikki Cross a little bit too much to be excited that she's surviving 2 minutes with Rhea Ripley. Like, she's deserves better than that, if you want to be honest about what you're seeing on television a lot of time. Eric Young deserved better than that. You know, Alexander Wolf definitely, in my opinion, like, not only what he did in Sanity, but with his run in Imperium. And like you said, being that veteran presence. You know, he wasn't, like I said, I'm not going to act like he was wrestling Matt classics all the time or whatever, like, but he was a part of a lot of things that were genuinely entertaining when it comes to NXT. So it sucked that, you know, he just kind of get beat down and then, you know, now he's gone. And, you know, that place has become such a revolving door at times to where it's hard to just really gauge how much certain guys deserve, because there's so many people who deserve a lot, or at least seem like they've worked hard enough to be awarded certain things that they're not when it comes to WWE as a whole, much less people like, and people in NXT. But I agree. I think he definitely deserved more. Killian Dane, sometimes I wonder, as much as I enjoyed the stuff he does with Drake, he could be so much bigger, you know, if presented a certain way. You know, we talk about Bronson Reed as a big, you know, baby face, you know, type of thing. But Killian Dane can work as a monster in a monster type of role. He can work as a baby face. Like, he deserves a lot. Also, you know, if you think about it. So the entire Sanity, you know, I think they missed a huge opportunity and currently is missing huge opportunities with that talent.
Yeah, I completely agree. Someone that did deserve to get released, though, was Drake Wirtz, who was fired after having apparently nuclear heat. We spoke about everything that he was saying beforehand on the last NXT update. And it's just, there was numerous instances in higher-ups, and apparently Wirtz had problems with people of colour as well, people about religions, and he was aggressive about stuff. I mean, what a piece of shit, you know?
Right.
Right. I can't it's just good riddance to bad rubbish, you know?
I agree 100%, man. Good riddance. You know, you don't need any of that. It's hard enough as it is navigating, you know, not only the wrestling business, but just life in general. You don't need energy like that. You don't need people like that, you know, with outdated mind states and with, you know, just spewing out ignorance, like you said, and then causing disarray backstage. You are a referee. Like, you are the last person who should be, you know,
you're the quiet one. Yeah.
Right. Like, why? I will say that a referee with that much heat, I don't know. I don't know if I ever heard of this before. You know, a referee generating heat like that. So that's how you know he has to be an asshole. You know, from that position, and you still, you know, have an ego to that retrospect to where you feel like your opinion trumps everyone else's or whatever. You know, it's insane. It's insane. But, you know, good riddance and goodbye.
Like you said, let's, you know, enough about the racists. Now on to the potential paedophiles. Velveteen Dream was apparently released on Thursday as part of the ongoing cuts of NXT brand. Of course, coming through at the age of 19. And, I mean, again, a couple of years ago, when everybody was saying he was going to be the kind of next big thing, I always think potential was a horrible thing. I didn't think it was going to end exactly like this. But what are your thoughts on the Velveteen Dream, who dropped the ball in his entire career, didn't he, really?
Yeah, man, just like you said, we talk about missed opportunities. Like, he had it as far as, like, the character and the uniqueness. He had a look. You know, his promos, I didn't necessarily think he was the greatest promo, but they weren't bad at all. His in-ring work, you know, I don't even want to get started on that. But, yeah, and then his explanation, I don't know if you saw that or whatever. I heard about basically his explanation for what actually went on and how he's trying to protect kayfabe. And it's just, I don't understand how you thought the character you were playing is more important than protecting your own, you know, your personal name value and who you are and your character as a person. If I'm accused of anything like that, immediately I gotta come to my own defense. I can't, you know, screw the character. You know, at the end of the day, we all love wrestling. We understand, you know, how it works. So we would understand if you took one section, one time out, just a little time out of your day to not be Velveteen Dream and explain what happened or explain what's actually going on. But, you know, we never got that. And now post-release, after this has already ruined your career, now you want to explain it. It's just, oh, man, like I said, it's sad when you think about, like, how talented he was. But, you know, based on what he was accused of, if this was overdue,
yes,
we really want to be on, you know, what was going on. This was overdue. And, you know, he was lucky to last as long as he did. You know, you could tell backstage, maybe Triple H or whoever it was, you could tell they really wanted to hold on to that because that's just how talented of a kid he is. But, you know, he shot himself in the foot.
The thing about Velveteen Dream as well is that, we're an NXT Takeover in your house. You know, it's happening this evening. And the event last year, Adam Cole faced Velveteen Dream for the NXT Championship. So you talk about that kind of drop from there. And even at that point, it had all kind of started happening as well. So it's, you know, like I said, interesting to see it why WWE held off. But, of course, with all the other releases, you can't really get away with it, so to speak, you know, after a while, and it'll be quite notable soon enough. But anyway, enough about them. We'll move on and we'll get on to the next episode of NXT. It's the 25th of May, and here we go. We're opening with Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross rematch video package narrated by Jimmy Smith. From there we go to Wade Barrett, Vic Joseph, Beth Phoenix, and they run down tonight's card. And first up, it's tag team Atsi, Shotzi Blackheart, and Ember Moon versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. We see the War Goddess continue to frustrate Gonzalez, and the champion got too flustered to put away. Moon reversed a single arm powerbomb into a stunner before she and Blackheart hit their tag team finisher to win on Kai. Afterwards, an angry Gonzalez struck Blackheart repeatedly in the barricade while Kai forced Moon to watch. That reversal was the slam into the stunner. I actually got off my seat at that. What were your thoughts on this matchup?
I thought the match was very well done. I really loved how, you know, like you said, that reversal, every time Ember does an eclipse, is always beautiful, but like that is just a perfect reversal for that move. It just shows you how, first of all, it just shows you how good the stunner / you know, the eclipse, that style of move is. Just a great finisher in general. You can just bring it out anywhere. But, you know, I really loved that. I definitely popped the same way. Was just excited. And, you know, I have to say also, I love the new the finisher, team finisher that Moon and Blackheart did also. I thought that was well done. And after the match, all I got to say is that my gears were immediately turning, and it sounds bad because of what happened to Shotzi, but I was so excited that it was happening the way it was happening because I knew that means we're maybe getting Moon and Gonzalez down the line, and you know, so it had me so excited from that point on, you know, of what was coming next. And I think that's a great segment overall. If you can have a solid to great match and then have me excited to what's the next chapter in this feud or in what's next for all of the ladies involved, I thought that they did a good job there.
Right, look, I like watching women get beaten as much as the next man, you know. But unfortunately for Shotzi,
please, praise that.
I'm gonna get some fucking emails. The last couple of sentences that I've said.
I'm talking domestically, okay?
God. It's not cool, guys. It's not cool.
No, okay? We're talking about wrestling.
Shotzi unfortunately is injured because of this way to be written out. A good way to start the show. We get a video package of Finn Balor and Karrion Kross arriving at the arena. It's weird on the big matches we get to see him arrive to the arena as opposed to the other times. I just like it sometimes.
I always wondered that. Like, how do they arrive on the regular week? We never know. We'll never know.
We'll never know. And up next, Bobby Fish versus Pete Dunne. Only Lorcan coming out with Dunne. Bobby Fish twists his mustache as he makes his way down to the ring. So, right, Pete Dunne's going to twist his arm in a minute, I suppose. And Vic Joseph informs us he's returned early against the advice of his doctor. I hope Dunne didn't hear that at ringside anyway. And then, weirdly enough, Dunne did stomp on the surgically repaired tricep of Fish. Fish got too focused on doing damage to Dunne, tried to break his fingers. The Bruiserweight answered with a bitter end. And then Dunne allowed Lorcan to tap the right arm of Fish after the match, nearly putting him back on the shelf. Officials got involved just in time to save him further harm. Before I get your thoughts on this, I loved the bit where he's on the apron and Dunne's just like, yeah, fuck it, go on. And then Lorcan's just started attacking him. What were your thoughts on this this match?
I popped for Dunne's mannerisms and just like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Why not? Yeah, who cares? Yeah, who cares? Break his arm again. But it was definitely a really good match. I was impressed, actually. I was wondering after this, kind of like how much more. Well, not after the attack, but after the match, I was wondering how much more Bobby Fish. Is this? I would like to see more of him in a singles aspect, because it was a really impressive match from my point of view as someone who not really watched him in singles action as much as I've seen him in tag team action. So I really thought.
But I think, sorry, before we get to the match was good, but I think they should call him Lucky. Bobby Lucky Fish, because it's like he goes away and his group breaks up. He comes back and he gets injured again. And he's like, oh, I just can't catch a break here. And every time he needs to, like, in the next segment, like, walk into a puddle or miss his fucking bus. His car's been broken into. He's just like, oh, that is my luck.
Right? He does have.
Goes to the kitchen, open up the ready meal.
Yeah. He already has the worst luck, man. I get it. You're 100% right. When it comes to that, I do think also he's fighting injured and had the nerve to shrug at Pete. From that point on, he absolutely got destroyed, and I love that element of the match.
It's the equivalent of it's like smearing peanut butter somewhere around a dog,
Right? Are you insane? Do you not know what's about to happen?
And the guy's like, I know, I just like it. That's when you've got your problem. Maybe that's not funny.
Yeah, borderline masochist at this point.
Anyway, we get a studio promo from Hit Row when we return. Top Dollar vows us L's on the head of their competition like Luigi from the Mario Brothers. Isaiah Swerve Scott says they're not here to sing songs. If you didn't know, now you know. I think they are fucking good. This is money for me. I see this team being having a big role in the future of NXT.
I cannot wait to see what they do as time goes on. They're only going to get more comfortable with more TV time, more experience, and it's going to get even better when they get wrapped up into an actual story. And I can't wait to see, what's coming for everyone involved. We talked about how great Swerve has been for a while now, and I think with the entire group, he can elevate someone like Adonis that like I said, I've only seen a little bit of, and when I saw him, he was jobbing for the most part. He can elevate, Top Dollar, and so I can't wait to see what happens with this group as a whole as time goes on.
Without a doubt. Our next match, Mercedes Martinez versus Ada Ramira. Ramira tried to pull out a surprise against Martinez, but she found herself in trouble early thanks to suplex and Dragon Sleeper. She knocked Ramira off the top rope and then hit a running knee to set up the air raid crash to win. This was a basic squash, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is kind of like what we expected from when Zayda Ramir got that victory against Toni Storm. This is the match that you kind of expected to see then when she got that surprise upset. But back to the drawing board, I guess, for Ramir when it comes to this. But I thought the match was all about what happened after the match, and or at least get that mark. Which, by the way, I don't know who just marked her and then disappeared, so
Right,
here we go
so
with that
here we
element.
go. The lights go down in the building and they come back up a glowing red as the ring fills with smoke. A video package for Tin Shah starts playing as Martinez walks around confused. Down and come back up again, and Martinez has a black mark on her hand. I love the way she was like, you can't see me right now, but it's kind of like, oh, got my hand up in the air, oh, my hand, oh, look, like that I loved it. It's brilliant.
Right.
But Tin Shah is back. I mean, has she been on holiday? I suppose, where'd you go to chill if you're like 2,000 years old? And the other thing is, like you said, was Martinez in there doing the black mark herself? Or do you think, like, literally, like, Boa came sprinting from the back? Black marker, quickly, like, and she's like, fucking quick.
You think it's just like me? Did they have Bo waiting under the ring or someone under the ring so he can, as soon as the lights drop, all right, let me get this mark. Gotta mark it right perfectly so everyone can see it. And then she just stand there and hold her hand out, just like, here you go.
It's what I'm saying. It's such a weird thing, but again, it's nice to see Lee and of course Tin Shah and that gimmick come back because it felt like that we've not had it, but it's good to see. And then backstage we see Ted DiBiase talk to Tony Storm, but we can't hear what they say. Robert Stone tries to come talk to him, DiBiase throws money in his face and walks off cackling. And then we get the $1 million face-off. Cameron Grimes questioned why Ted DiBiase continued to embarrass him. The $1 million man told the technical savages that he saw a lot of himself in Grimes. It seemed that DiBiase was ready to turn his legacy over to a worthy successor, but L.A. Knight interrupted, and he wanted the $1 million man's fortune. And DiBiase said, well, Mr. Knight, I'm well aware of who you are, and you travelled the world with a great deal of success. You might even become a megastar here in NXT. You got $1 million body and $1 million mindset. And Grimes said, we get it, the guy's jacked, but he's no Cameron Grimes. And then LA Knight, basically, every time I see LA Knight now, I just see a mixture between The Rock and Stone Cold for every time he talks. And it's just like, it's unbelievable. But basically, the top and bottom of it was that LA Knight wants to be the new $1 million man. And Grimes is a bit upset by that. But Grimes is just so goddamn likable. I really like Knight's promo. I felt a bit sorry for him when he said he's not a millionaire yet as well. And I thought, oh, bless your heart.
I agree 100%. That was the thing I latched on to. I'm like, well, I don't think he's qualified. He hasn't hit the lotto. He didn't. What about he needs to get into some Bitcoin or something. Crypto. Hustle like Grimes did. Grimes came from hillbilly town to millionaire really, really fast. I mean, I don't understand what the debate is here. But anyway, besides that, LA Knight did a great job of spoiling this because this was supposed to be the moment that we've all been waiting for. Finally get an explanation for why DiBiase is always there to one up and humble in a way Cameron Grimes. And I really think they almost they really did a good job in my opinion in this situation because depending on how you were looking at things, because me and you, we've been Cameron Grimes has grown on us for a while now. Even before this character, when he was still kind of parading around doing heelish things as the $1 million or Cameron Grimes, we like that. But if you've been looking at him as a heel, I think this moment right here was when you realize, oh, okay, they're really about to hitch. We really might get a turn here because there's no way LA Knight is the likable guy in this situation. So, I really liked it. I really liked the turn of using a guy like LA Knight to go ahead and let everyone know that, yeah, we're going along with Cameron Grimes on this ride to the moon as a babyface.
Well, this is the thing, and To the Moon is a great chant as well for the fans to do. He's really, like I said, really likable. And the thing is, he's got a perfect heel now to go against. And I don't think it would have worked if kind of Ted DiBiase would have tried like a Jake Atlas versus Grimes. Because like you said, Grimes is kind of, he's just great anyway. But we see Mackenzie Mitchell is trying to interview Indy Hartwell. Indy's trying to find Dexter Loomis. Hartwell interrupts. Everybody's looking for him. Asks the Young Bucks, have you seen him? But then Drake gives her directions. She wants him to a room that's been decorated in his artwork, showing how his heart had been broken. Zooming on a drawing of a knife stabbing him in the heart. She runs away concerned. Bless his heart. What a normal thing to do. That is...
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that's very normal to have a shrine at your workplace. Like, what? Who regulates what Loomis is allowed to do? Do they? I feel bad. What if you're a member of the NXT universe, someone who loves watching it, and you've been in a traumatic situation before? You see this stalk. You've been stalked before. You see this stalker with a shrine, even if it is paintings of himself in this particular case. Like that got to be triggering as hell for somebody out here.
Well, the thing is, they'll be like, hey,
like him. We love him though.
They'll be like, hey, no guns. Knife is fine. No guns. We want to make this kid friendly. All right, stab her through the heart. Like,
right.
That's what we want.
It's endearing in this story. They found a way to make that endearing. The stalker.
How does it work? Anyway, up next, we've been waiting for it for a very long time. You see Cora Jade going against the debuting Frankie Monet. Monet makes her way down to the ring, modeling a €35,000 robe, according to Wade Barrett. Come on, you're English, mate. It's still pound. Anyway, after a dramatic entrance, Monet stomped Cora Jade into the corner. She hit running knees and a hip attack, and again taunted, allowed Jade to respond, but she stopped her by a spin-out powerbomb and glam slam to win. Thoughts on it? I really dug the entrance. What were your thoughts on her coming out and this kind of debut?
Yeah, I thought the entrance did a great job. Her song also is perfect. Like, you get everything you need to know about the character that she's portraying before the match even starts. You can already, like you said, with the robe, with the music, talking about how she's bougie and how they got everything. She got everything she can want. All of that type of stuff. I love the vibes that she gave off with this character. And then in the ring, if you weren't really familiar with Talia Valkyrie or her character pre-NXT, I can see how I think they did a really good job of showing how athletic she is this was impressive. Like, it was a squash match, of course, obviously, and you're supposed to showcase the talent. But I really love how they did it. And, a couple times where she let Cora Jade fight back and fire up against her, I love the moves and the way and the mannerism that she used to stifle that comeback. So I thought this was really, really good. It was definitely a squash match, but it was it was one that you had to pay attention to. And I think that's something that, you have to have as a superstar. You have to have something that makes us be like, okay, this is a star. And that's what I see when I see Frankie Monet. I see a star, and I think she has a bright future.
Well, I'm going to go one step further, and I can't see her facing Gonzalez unless, of course, Raquel maybe turns face, which could happen with Kai turning. But bet on Monet being champion by the end of the year. That's how confident I see that as someone that is going to be the women's division. And Beth Phoenix looking on will be a very good indicator, especially with that glam slam. Of course, she used it first and foremost, looking on at someone like Monet as well. And then we move on to Grizzly Young Veterans saying they're done with Thatcher and Ciampa, but they're not done with MSK. The fact remains the same. We are the leaders this division so desperately needs. If MSK were wrestling at the bottom of my garden, I would close the curtains. I promise you soon to be recognised as NXT Tag Team Champions. I can't do that promo justice, but my God, the Grizzly Young Vets get better every week with this as well. I mean, what a fucking quote that is.
Man, yeah. Every week, I'm just looking forward to either whether it's pre-match, whether it's just a segment. I'm looking forward to what they have to say. And, all the time, he's just firing from the hip. It's beautiful. I really like it. And you know what? I want to say this, and we'll get to them later, of course, but I got at least 2 or 3 teams I love more than our current NXT Tag Champions, and I don't know if it's any fault to them, and it's people who are not supposed to be more popular than them, I believe, if you go by their presentation. But I don't know. We talked about NXT Tag Division being, needing some help and being weak a few shows ago, not too long, and I know that's months ago now, but still. They've done a really good job, in my opinion, of rebuilding this division and making it at least feel more lively.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And we see Volta then vowing that his crew is going to be even stronger without Alexander Wolf, but he didn't mention his name, and gives his marching orders to Barthel and Eichner to take out the tag team division, saying in German that to us the mat is sacred. again, don't let Vader down because he will crush your windpipe like it is just, and nothing really. We see Bronson Reed coming to the ring wearing a nice suit, actually. There's a belt over his shoulder. He then explained his road to the NXT North American Championship. Of course, had his moment with his wife the previous week as well. Challenged anyone to step up. And then Santos Escobar arrived with Raul Mendoza and Woken Wild to mock the Colosso one. When you saw Santos arrive, did you think, the last time we were doing an NXT update, we mentioned this would be a great idea to do as well, him stepping up to the next stage? It's like smug mode engaged for me, really,
Yeah. I feel good. I think we did a great job of predicting.
Yeah, we had that pat on our backs, like I say. And then Escobar said he wanted the title. Just as Legado del Fantasma come to the ring, MSK interrupted low, and they stare at each other down from the entrance trap. As we go backstage to Finn Balor lacing up his boots, and of course we know we're going to get Legado del Fantasma and MSK coming up soon. We then see William Regal announcing that Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano next week will determine a new number one contendership for the NXT title. And we talked about O'Reilly and Dunne being there, but this is the great thing about Gargano. Just lost the North American title. We can be put in this situation. You don't blink an eye because it's Johnny Gargano,
Exactly. We also predicted that Gargano was going to get in the divisions because of just how compelling and how well he's been doing and how well he did as North American champion. I think this is a great reward for him for a lot of that hard work. And also, like you said, he's Johnny Takeover. Johnny Gargano is like, that's where he belongs, even if he, no matter what else he's doing, whether it's a tag team run, whether it's a North American title run, he's always welcome in the main event run. I think that just goes to show how appreciated and how good he's always been in the main event scene. So I think, like you said, sometimes you need to move him out so you can get some fresh faces or fresh, opponents for him. But he's always welcome to go back, jump right back into it. And I think it was a nice touch getting him right back into it immediately after losing the belt.
We'll find out next week who the number one contender is, but we're going to find out right now who the NXT champion will be because we've got Karrion Kross defending against Finn Balor. We see both of them making their entrances. Of course, the big lights down, a big match introduction. This was quite a slow start, really, with Balor grounding Kross to the mat early, but we see the Prince running right into a Kross jacket. Balor did make it to the ropes, and the Irishman caught Kross with a sling blade clothesline and some sort of plancha to the outside, but the champion just got right back up and slammed the challenger onto the announce table. Balor managed to get Kross down for a moment, so Kross stopped him, hit the Saito suplex. Balor avoided a running forearm and two traded forearms on the mat. Balor almost made Kross tap out to a sleeper, but the champion battled out with a powerbomb. The two glared each other down before the champion clothesline Balor. This up the running forearm followed by the Kross jacket for a technical submission. What were your thoughts on this, and were you surprised at all about how it finished?
I was not really expecting it to go, like you said, the choke out route, but I thought it was a great touch. You never really know how Kross's matches end because I think between the suplex and the running, forearm shot and with the Kross jacket, he has a multitude of ways at this point now that he can just put people out. That's one thing that I think also helps his character and like how dangerous he's been presented is the fact that, he could just knock you upside the head and it'll be over, or he can choke you out, or, whatever. It's up to him. It's his choice. So, what you about to say?
Well, I'm about to say, it's not about the match itself, because I really, really enjoyed the match, these two great guys. But when did they change the rule for the referee checking the arm 3 times? Because you all remember the Hulk, I'm saying the Hulk Hogan thing, but, like the arm going down for the third, stopping it, and then kind of coming back. When did that change to just checking it once? Because at WrestleMania, when McIntyre went out to the Hurt Lock, I was fucking devastated because I thought he had more time, and the referee just... And it's the same with this one where the referee just like checks Balor and then rings the bell. Is it just because they don't need the added drama, or is that a kind of, will we see that down the road a little bit when they kind of forget this is the rules now, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I think ever since they've been trying, like I said, I don't know exactly like a moment in time when this began, but I believe what they're going for is like a more MMA feel to like the finish instead of, like you said, the drama and the, put it down. And it does seem like they pick and choose when they want that to matter because, I think you know, sometimes it's been a while since I've seen them execute the Hogan style. You know, I'm out, and then all of a sudden you're back. You know, back into it.
Yeah.
You know, they still do it every now and then, but it's been a while. So I think what they've been trying to do is like give it more of an MMA real. You know, he's passed out or type, or like you said, he can't answer the ref's call. You know, I think a couple of times I've heard like this is the referee's decision to end the match. You know, I think even in AEW they did a match like that too. You know, where like the referee just said, nope, it's over. You know, woo, you know, however they decided to explain it. So, yeah, you know, I understand.
I think you just. So that's your polite way of saying they haven't done it for 20 years, James. Like, you know, it's been a long time.
But no, it's confusing though. Like, I know what you mean. It's confusing. They haven't done it in a while, but it's still a confusing thing since no one has come out and ever said anything. Like, that's one of those things I would like someone to explicitly explain. You know, that it's gone. But yeah, they haven't done it in a while. If you really think back, because I'm trying to remember the last time I seen it executed. You know, but
it's like when you say, "Oh, have you seen that woman?" Yeah, it's like, no, she's been dead for 10 years. Oh shit, maybe.
I don't know if you're paying attention, but you know, she perished a long time ago.
I don't know who you're talking to, but WWE had some bad news when it came to ratings, because not only Raw, which again we haven't got time to discuss what's going on with Raw at the moment, it only drew a 1.621 million. Now, for anybody listening about maybe don't know ratings at the moment, 1.621 million. In about 2014 or 2015, they probably had about 4.6. And you think about the drop off there in just that kind of short space of time. It was a 10% drop from the previous week. And then NXT, with this as the main event, drew 698,000 people. This is a takeover level. I know we had it, takeover, but this is a takeover level match. I know ratings don't matter to us because we're going to watch a product, but why do you think it's affected? Is it just because of COVID, or is there other reasons why people aren't tuning into NXT anymore?
Yeah, honestly, that's one of those perplexing things. I see the numbers every now and then. When I see them, I'm confused, honestly, on what's going on as far as like the viewing audience. I don't know if it's like one of those, like you said, maybe with COVID, maybe with things, especially in the States, starting to open up a little bit more. People are getting out and, enjoying, a lot of the freedom that they didn't have for a long time over this past year and change. That may be playing some of a factor, but honestly, I can speak for Raw because it's been hard for me to even finish some of those episodes or keep watching it. So Raw has just been dissipated. Rematch Raw is what I saw someone call it on Twitter, and that's very great, very good. Like, I promise I've seen the same matchups week after week, and that's not always a bad thing. But sometimes, of course, when you just run everything into the ground, it's hard to get invested when you know what's coming, or you can pretty much guess what you're about to see. And then, as far as the NXT takeover like level main event, I agree this is one of those times. But again, how much believability did people have that Balor had a chance? That can play a factor into that also. Maybe people already assume that Cross has and maybe this has a lot to do with this new trend of dominant champions. Not that it's their fault. I think Roman Reigns and Lashley, a lot of these guys have been presented in a great fashion, but when you have a dominant champion, they're gonna dominate. So it's hard to believe that, like we talked about once before, valuable contenders for Cross, valuable contenders for Reigns, valuable contenders, like that does matter. Like, as great as it is to have that established champion, having someone you believe has a chance of winning is just as important. And when you run a lot of the guys who we believe have a chance to win into the ground and get them beaten repeatedly, maybe that's hard for some people to come back to or consistently care about.
Yeah, but I think that's an excellent point. And then we've learned that, unfortunately, Josiah Williams was part of the WWE cuts this week. He appeared on various digital properties and did the theme music for Cameron Grimes. We've had so many names speaking highly of him. That's a shame, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing I thought he was a great ambassador for the NXT brand. If you looked at what he does on social media, he, like you said, had that song, brought out Adam Cole a couple of times with the Undisputed Era, rapping. So he was creative. So it sucks when you see talent like that get let go, and another victim of the dreaded budget cuts or whatever is going on over there. But man, just add another name to the list of just valuable talent that is on somewhere else now.
Yeah, with that. Well, we start our next episode of NXT June 1st, the number one contendership match, and after a sick video recapping last week, we start what I thought would be the main event of this episode, and I've got serious man love for two of these three guys, of course, Gargano versus O'Reilly versus Dunn. The secret with Dunn is just let him wrestle. We've talked about Johnny being the complete package. I had no idea what O'Reilly had as a logo on his T-shirt. Did you see O'Reilly's new T-shirt? Because I don't know if it's an X-ray or picture. Do you know what it actually is?
I have no clue.
No,
what's going on there? Honestly, no, I did not. I don't know.
I was looking at his T-shirt and going, I can't work out what that is a picture of. Like, I honestly couldn't. I was like, why would you have a merchandise that you can't tell what it is?
Yeah, honestly, I've been having a problem with NXT's merch person or whoever is over there for a while. They've been, I don't know what's going on with some of these designs, some of the ideas, but they haven't been the best for a little while now.
Well, and you wouldn't think the Englishman would have the best tan out of the three guys as well. You know, like, I mean, like, where we see, he's not getting it naturally, shall we say. It's I don't know if it's me. I just look at him and go, wow, Dan is tanned, man. Like, you don't know that in NXT UK. People change. Anyway, been to the match. We see the Bruiserweight getting spiked in his head by Johnny and then go out of the Gargano escape, then hit the bitter end. I've already broke up the pin with a diving knee drop on both men, but then Adam Cole arrived to blast all three with a steel chair and then took out the official who tried to stop him. Cole hit the last shot on Gargano, which brought out an angry William Regal with security. With all three out for the count, the match was called off for the moment. What were your thoughts on this match to open up, and obviously what happened with Adam Cole as well?
I thought the match itself was great, and after doing a little research, Googling, look, Kyle O'Reilly's shirt is a hook in someone's heel because he does the heel hook.
Right.
X-ray of a hook in a X-ray version of a heel. So I just want to let anyone know that if you have to work this hard to try to understand it, it's probably not the best design. But anyway. But anyway.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. But again, the match itself, man, I was really into this match, before the interference. I really am not a fan of matches ending that way, especially when it's involved with it. So not only was it an important match, it involved, like you said, three uber talented guys, and they were doing a really, really good job. But I think when Cole came in, it also excited me because I was like, okay, good. Adam Cole is someone he's another one of those guys that's in this division, in the world title picture. Even though he's been away, he's someone who should have a say in like who's next to challenge Cross. So I was just excited to see what was going to happen next, and I repeated this with the Gonzalez and Blackheart segment. They did a great job of entertaining the hell out of you with the wrestling and then leaving you wanting to see, okay, what's going to happen next, and I think they've done a good job with that. And that's a great opening segment in general. Time and time again, I've seen opening segments on certain wrestling shows, Raw, and they just, it literally can ruin the entire experience from you because you're like, okay, can we get to something? What are we getting to here? And I really love how NXT does a good job on most occasions of getting you right into the action and then leaving you wanting to see what happens.
Well, this is the thing, and like I said, I was surprised. Match is on first. That's a bit of a surprise. And then when Adam Cole, we go, oh, okay, right, that's the thing that they're going to do. I think the match itself, there was a couple of times it felt like a triple threat, but it was more like a singles match with outside interference. Right. The guy just kind of waiting outside, and you're going, oh, come on now. Still really good stuff. Like last 5 minutes before Cole showed up was top notch. And speaking of which, exactly. Adam Cole's yelling at Regal saying, I'm leaving. They escort him out the back door. And meanwhile, with the match with no conclusion, as walked past all of them and said she was hijacking the show till Gonzalez came out. Gonzalez music plays and Winnie Regal tries and fails to cut her off the pass. He is not having a good evening. She gets to the ring and starts brawling with Moon. Moon gets the better of her, mouths off the security, holds Gonzalez back, but Dakota Kai jumps Moon from behind and destroys her with kicks. Regal runs down to check on Moon as the fans boo. Security and Regal make both Gonzalez and Kai leave. What a fucking crazy way to start NXT, eh?
I agree 100%. And man, Regal. He just feel like he's like a stressed out principal of like one of the most unkempt and just wild schools or universities you've ever think of. Like that's what he felt like. He's trying to control so many moving parts, but it's just too much for Regal himself to just handle at this point. And but yeah, it was a great way. Again, another segment where it's like, okay, everything makes sense, and it's also giving you that element of, okay, what are we gonna do about this? What's gonna come of this? And by the way, anything Ember Moon does, I don't think she's kind of like EO in my book, as one of those people that is not. She can do no wrong to me. Like I love Ember Moon, and everything about not only Ember's Law, the character. She's just a badass, and I love everything about it. And I think that's the perfect person to put Gonzalez against.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, and I think Natalie said it was set here a little bit. I just love the fact Regal going backstage, opening up a door, seeing Dexter Lumis setting fire to things and going, do you know what? Actually, that's the least of my problems right now. It's like kind of getting on with his work. Anyway, we get a video package of Santos Escobar encouraging Legado to take the tag belts. And up next is L.A. Knight versus Jake Atlas. L.A. Knight talks himself to the ring. I'm starting to like it because it is such a throwback. It's like an Attitude Era chucked right into NXT nowadays,
Yeah, I again, as someone who's never really been interested in Eli Drake, L.A. Knight and his presentation, the catchphrases, everything about him, I understand it. I get it. He's really good. He's really good at at being entertaining, and that's one thing I'll say. We again but also not in that way where he's goofy or in that way where you can't take him seriously. He's still entertaining, and that, like you said, it's such a throwback. The catchphrases, the way he speaks, the attitude is over the top. I like that element of his character, and again, he's another person right now who nobody else on the roster is like, and they have a lot of uniqueness when it comes to this roster in both divisions. So yeah.
Well, we see into the match and we see Jake Atlas had control, but with the acne on his face, young. And I feel so old. Like, I think, man, he's not even out of high school yet, is he? Or something like that. But anyway, Knight hit a jumping net breaker, which brought out the $1 Million Man. Knight was distracted by the rival DiBiase trying to show off for the WWE Hall of Famer. However, Atlas could not steal the win, but Cameron Grimes decided to walk out during the match to talk to DiBiase. This fueled Atlas, who hit a rolling fireman's carry into a standing moonsault and then hit the cartwheel DDT and won clean. Afterwards, Knight blamed Grimes for the loss. It was a bit of a surprise but I love the fact this is one of NXT's main angles now. Like after we've been talking about it, they're actually giving it time.
I agree. Something that seemed like it was just sometimes even placed to give you a break from the wrestling and just make you laugh has become, like you said, a more important aspect of the show, a major story. And I like how we've gotten here also. They've built this up in a great way. L.A. Knight really impressed me, honestly. Not only in this match did he look really good, but he looked almost like he, needed less work in someone in the ring than like Atlas. I think Atlas looked a little bit, like you said, you called him young, but he actually did look, a little greener, at least than L.A. Knight in this retrospect. And I don't know if that's because he wasn't really on display or, just the position that he was in. I was really surprised that he won. Also, that Atlas took the victory. I know that it was in a similar fashion than what happened to Grimes earlier, but L.A. Knight impressed. So I thought he would win that match. So getting the other finish was cool, and we'll see. Maybe we'll see what happens with this over time. But yeah, this story and the way it's built, man, I really love how, week by week, how it got more and more important.
Yeah, I think without that, and I think the thing with LA Knight, just because a heel can lose and he can kind of get over it, And I think this is what the problem with WWE sometimes. It doesn't mean that he needs to lose, and especially when you're kind
Right,
of building up towards a match, it's like, and then you're thinking, oh, is Atlas going to be involved in a triple threat? No. So what's the fuck
no,
then?
it's not. Exactly. So what's the
But
point?
anyway,
What's the point? Like, you're losing for nothing. Like, we know he can talk his way out of anything, but he shouldn't even have to in certain situations.
This is what I'm saying. But we see a video package from earlier today. We get Drake Maverick and Killian Dane getting into a fight with Hit Row. Those young bucks watch on. And then backstage, Justin Theory and Only Law can get into it near the trainer's room. Both convinced that their man would have won the triple threat if it weren't for Adam Cole. I really enjoyed this. This is what I love about wrestling. Of course they would argue about it, Of course they would fight.
Right. My friend would have won. No, my friend would have won.
Yeah, exactly. My uncle beats your uncle up all day long. We see Caleb Braxton trying to get a word with Ted, but Cole just walks past and goes straight to the ring. We see calling a shot on the NXT Championship. He mocked Karrion Kross. He said, this is what Adam Cole said. I would be happy to, Mr. Overrated. The truth is, you ain't Adam Cole, baby, and you never will be. The brand has done everything in their power to make you feel special. You got the cool music, you got the lights, you got the fog machine, you got the girl. You know what they do to make Adam Cole feel special? They ring the freaking bell on your best day. You couldn't lace my boots. You can't hang with me. You're not on my level. And everyone knows who's watching pro wrestling that you're not special. I'm special. You're just a guy who has my property. Talk about a fucking burn. Like, come on.
God.
Should he be allowed to say that as well in a certain way, Like, come on.
Oh my goodness, yeah, he was shooting like that. It felt, and that's another thing. I love that element of just real, how real that felt. It came from a real place, even though I'm pretty sure, everyone knew what was going to happen, but I don't know to what extent, because it was just, oh man, what a promo, man, what a promo. Yeah. It went viral, and it deserved every second of going viral. I understood why everyone loved it. And it was a lot of truth in what he was saying, because, as much as great as dominant as Kross has looked, we all know that they have put a lot behind him at this point. And I'm not saying he hasn't shown up in the ring, because he has, in my opinion. But I think, is he on the level of Adam Cole when it comes to, the intricacies of pro wrestling or entertainment wise? I don't know. And I think that's a great element that Adam Cole has, because a lot of the promos that rang true, or at least seem to hit home to a lot of people, man, those are some of the best promos. And I think Adam Cole hit on a lot of nerves that maybe that's what's in the back of a lot of viewers, or even wrestlers' mind when they watch what's going on with Kross.
Yeah, well, literally, and I think only maybe 3 men could have done that promo, Ciampa Gargano included, right, just because of the kind of history with NXT. But like I said, if something's a bit, if you've got kind of 3 towers and 2 are made of concrete, one's made of cardboard, you don't point out the cardboard one. You kind of work a way around it. I couldn't think of any other analogy then. That's the first thing that came to my head. But you know what I mean? Like, but William Regal come out and went, for fuck's sake, like, what is going on? He's trying, I've had enough. He's trying to stop Cole from weaseling his way into the title shot. Instead, Kross made it clear he wanted Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, and Cole at TakeOver. But don't tell Regal to shut up. I will say that to Kross. I mean, this was crazy. Cole looked like a badass. He then attacked them all. This is what Adam Cole's night was. He attacked them all, called out Kross without punishment for his shot, then threw a bottle of water at Kross's Scarlet as well.
Yes.
He did look like a child, though, face to face. I thought, has Cole shrunk, or is Kross like 8 feet? Like, I don't know how tall. But In Your House Would Be Nuts. What were your thoughts on this?
Man, I thought this segment was probably the highlight of the entire night. At least from my memory. I think it was other great moments here, but on this show. But this definitely was the moment that took off, and it was great. I really liked it. I honestly think the only thing is that if you depending on where you stand on Kross, if you think they should be, if you think this made him look some type of way, I don't think, first of all, I don't think you've been watching long, because he's been so strong the entire time. This is the first time he's literally been taken down a peg pretty much at all, because everyone else who's fought him has been very respectful, or at least not, and fearful in some cases. So when Adam Cole did that, I think this is nice to see. I wanted to see how Cross reacted to this, and I think challenging all the men involved is a great, badass way of saying, I'm not afraid of any of you. I can take out all of you guys. I don't care. I don't need this. But I also love, again, how Adam Cole, like, he not only did he win, like you said, the segment overall and the night overall pretty much by getting the title shot he wanted. I believe, honestly, I don't know how, unless they just really did good. They did a really good job of making me really feel like Cross was legit ticked off, especially after the water bottle. Because he looked
the water bottle.
The water bottle really pissed him off. Like, I think he was literally mouthing he's going to hit him in the face or whatever if he got a chance.
He was more pissed. Yeah, I thought, you're going to protect Scarlett. No, he's like, you've got water me, you motherfucker.
He was pissed.
That wasn't in the fucking script. Like,
right. That's what it looked like, and I loved every second of it. I also love with Cross. He should never disrespect William Regal. I agree 100%. That is royalty. But at the same time, when he told him, man, you haven't had control of this show in weeks, I had to think back, and I'm like, yep, we got a 2,000-year-old spirit roaming around. We got stalking weekly going on. I mean, he has a point, Regal. You haven't had control in a long time.
Well, we see Mackenzie Mitchell backstage with Candice LeRae and a moping Indy Hartwell, who has headphones on, is apparently listening to sad music. But the look on Indy's face, it's so... She must have looked at something so sad before shooting that to get it, tears in her eyes. LeRae rips it off her head and mocks her for listening to 80s power ballads even. And I said, Indy... Easy for me to say. Indy sold this one beautifully, I will say.
Yes. Again, the belief. She's into this. Like, every element, like, whatever they're giving her on a weekly basis and is involved with this index storyline, she is going all in. You can't tell me she doesn't, feel something the way, like you said, almost like acting class level of dedication to this role. That the facial expressions, her mannerisms are priceless, and just great job all around for everyone that's been involved in the index storyline so far.
Right, we then go to the announce desk, then we get a video package for the Open challenger Carmelo Hayes, who will face Kushida. We then get a promo for Zia Lee saying she wants revenge on Mercedes Martinez from a bounce in her first match ever, a Young Classic. And this was a fucking great callback as well, because weirdly enough, right, we covered the Mae Young Classic, and Zia Lee was actually one of my picks when we did it back in the day. So, and I thought it was her first match back then, but that is a deep cut, and it's good that it's not just a kind of, oh, she's a badass. It's like, no, there's a bit of history there as well,
I love that callback because it was something that slipped my mind. I watched both of the Mae Young Classics at the time. I've pretty much seen every match of every Mae Young Classic that they've had. And I remember that once they showed that clip, and it was nice to get that reminder. Okay, so it is something, like you said, it's not just, okay, I'm my evil spirit, Tien Shaw, whoever the evil spirit wants me to attack you. No, we have a history, and you are the beginning of why, that version of me didn't make it to where it belonged in her mind. And I think even without having a long, drawn out story into it, it added a great element to this match and made it feel more important. And again, this is again another reason why I love the way NXT books all of their divisions. This is another non-title feud with enough story in the background to get you excited to see what's going on in it. So I really like that callback, and it was a nice element added to the feud.
So Loomis putting on the headphones Hartwell was listening to, 80 Powers Balance still playing, and a tear in his eye as he walks away. I just put ha, because this is just, I mean, they know what they're doing, and they're doing it very well. And like I said, if you don't like this kind of stuff, you're going to hate it. But if you can appreciate it, it's going to pay off in leaps and bounds, isn't it, really?
Agreed. Like, man, like the dedication to not only the Stalker character itself, but the different elements, the facial expressions, the tears, it's just like I said, they're all really into this. You can tell, and whoever's coming up with the ideas, the 80s power ballad, that as an idea, they're having fun with this also, and that's the thing that you can see because it translates through the character that everyone is having fun. Like it translates through the story that they're telling that this is just perfect, like the perfect storm of emotions and everything. Like it's crazy how much they've already done with this story and without them ever even really embracing.
Honestly, it is, like you said, and the payoff for it is going to be immense as well. But now time for a match. We get Kushida, the champion, versus Carmella Hayes for the Cruiserweight Championship. We see the Kushida. I fucking love Kushida. I've said this so many times. We see not a bad match between the two. However, despite Hayes' best efforts, he could not escape when Kushida trapped him in the hoverboard lock. He tapped out. Not a bad look for the young man. Couple of missteps, but who better to learn from than Kushida, who, like I said, is next level stuff. I would expect Adonis to be mixing it with maybe Kushida in the future as well. What are your thoughts on this match and Kushida as well? Because it's a shame that he's not going to feature at TakeOver as well, because he doesn't have bad matches, does he?
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. Kushida's he's been one of the best in the world for a long time, and it's just continued. And I love how, again, the elevation of the Cruiserweight champion. It started with this great run with Escobar, but now with Kushida there to, with the match rate, it won't be any cheap type of victories. He's going to go out there. He's going to wrestle. Again, you mentioned that Pete Dunne's at his best, or when you just put him in the ring, and Adam Cole said when you ring that bell, that's when they set him up. It's the same thing with Kushida. You don't have to do anything, but just give him a spotlight, give him 15 to 20 minutes, and let him work his magic. He's so good, and I really love how at the end, as someone like me who was unfamiliar with Carmelo Hayes before this, that he was even elevated with how much, how good he looked at times against someone the talent level and someone who we've seen his elevation also in Kushida. So I just love how, after when you think about the Cruiserweight title and we talk about how no one cares about 205 Live and how that was supposed to, Cruiserweight title was the main title there. And how whenever the NXT spotlights this belt, especially now with Kushida as champion, they are putting on probably the best matches of the night whenever they're involved. I agree. I want the Cruiserweight title to be just as much a part of the takeovers at this point as the World Championship. That's what that match quality or the match quality that they have been doing in that division for a while now has earned, in my opinion. It sucks that we won't get to see it this time, but I can't wait for the next feud that gets him on a takeover, because Kushida is someone who needs to be on the screen as much as possible with that crazy amount of work rate that he has. It's just, he's great. He's always been great to me, but man, I love what he's doing right now.
Yeah, without a shadow of the MSK Valor retain the tag team titles before we go to commercial break. We see Frankie Monet's reading the reviews for her world debut last week. She only reads the positive ones though. She winks at the camera when we go back to the ring. But did those guys with her play gay enough? Because I've got some gay friends and not all of them go around going, hi guys, like, how you doing? You watching wrestling? Like, you know what I mean? It's not, I think I won't get hateful emails for that, but I don't think every gay man is like that. I may be wrong.
I don't think every male hairdresser is like that. Or makeup artist. Like, I get it. Most of them may be gay or whatever, but I don't think they all are like that. I agree 100%. It was a little over the top, but they got the point across, I guess.
I knew what they was trying to do there. Yeah. Anyway, move on to our next match. Zoe Stark and Zayda Ramirez versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And Zayda Ramirez found herself stuck in the ring alone with the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions after Ray took out Zoe Stark. Together, the champions hit the Wicked Savage for the victory. Just remember, no entrance, no win. Even on WWE games, you actually have to be an official tag team to challenge for the belts or even anything like that. So, but anyway, I'm over this. Who can seriously challenge this team after their impressive match, and what were your thoughts on it as well?
The match itself was okay. It was a squash, like you said, no injuries. You pretty much when one group can't even get an entrance. Most of the time, we pretty much know what's going to happen. Even barring certain shocking moments. As far as the team goes, I think with Blackheart and Moon moving over to deal with Kai and or mostly just with Gonzalez right now, just Moon since Blackheart has been out. It really leaves a hole, in my opinion, right now in that division as far as a serious tag team. I can only think of really the people that come to mind or I don't take seriously at all. Like Aaliyah and Kamea. I don't. I'm trying to think of another team at the moment who should take it. Maybe another impromptu team. Maybe a returning EO and someone. Could work. I don't know, honestly, at this moment. I think probably that's what's gonna happen though. Maybe a team that either has not debuted yet, or a fresh team, a newer team will probably challenge them next. We need a good babyface, or maybe like an EO and the Sarai, maybe. I don't know. I'm just putting people together at this point.
No, that's actually quite a good shout. We see Mercedes Martinez say she's more badass than she was in the Mae Young Classic. Just like Zia Lee, really good Chiquita. Beat you at Mae Young Classic, but Takeover run through you. That sounds like another match is official. And then commentary remind us that Grimes versus Knight is official, as well as 5-way for the NXT Championship. We then see another Diamond Mine promo opening soon. So is this going to be like more Raw Underground than anything else? Is it going to be a show or stable? I mean, has this really explained anything from the promos?
Yeah, they're leaving it very, very vague on purpose. I don't know. Maybe it changes weekly. They're not sure yet. But only thing we really can do is just keep watching and seeing what comes of it. I'm hoping for maybe another fresh stable, especially without the Undisputed Era here. It'd be nice to see what new. We got Hit Row. That's a fresh group. It'd be nice to see if we can get another one. I'm a big fan of stables because I think if done right, they can elevate so much. They can elevate talent. They can make established talent. They can give established talent new directions. So I really love that. So I'm hoping for a faction. But if it is a show, I'm hoping it's not like Raw Underground because that was not the most compelling stuff. That's the reason why it no longer exists and it just faded away without anyone talking about it.
I like to think you're the positive one and I'm the negative one, and we kind of meet halfway.
Exactly.
Anyway, we see Ember Moon is with Mackenzie Mitchell. She said, "Am I supposed to be happy, jumping for joy? I'm livid. Gonzalez is supposed to be the most dominant, but Kai constantly interferes for her. I'm going to take revenge on the Lucky next week. And at Takeover, I'm going to take what matters to her most and become a 2-time champ. Hell have no fury like Ember's law." And great promo. And then we move on to the main event, MSK, the champions versus the Legado del Fantasma. Of course, NXT Tag Team title match. The challengers enter first along with a leader, Santos Escobar, followed by champions. And I thought Mendoza had a gimp mask on until he got into the ring. And they said, he broke his arm. Oh, okay. Because I thought that is a weird Mexican wrestler that I've never seen in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've not... Oh, God, actually, if I'm going to get angry emails, El Gimpo, go on, send them to me, the doubleupodcast@gmail.com. This was celebrating, of course, 50 years of WWE tag teams and into the match. And we see the Grizzled Young Vets trying to get involved. Ciampa and Thatcher attack them. They brawl raged into the back. Meanwhile, Lee gave a partner briefing to stop the dominance of the Legado del Fantasma. Regal's watching this and going, even in a match, there's fucking outside interference and brawling all the time. Like, what can I do? We see Wesley barely survive impressive offense from the Hills, including a head scissors takedown off the top rope into a powerbomb. Santos Escobar attacked Lee from behind the referee's back and set up MSK to hit his finisher, but Carter made the save. Bronson Reed blasted Escobar into the barricade, and when I say blasted him, squashed him, which distracted Mendoza while he finished for MSK, allowing the champions to retain. What were your thoughts on this? A lot happened in this main event.
Yes, like I said, my biggest minus from this match, if I have to say one, is definitely how overbooked it felt at times. Like, it was so much to process. It was hard. I felt like the people who were having the title match deserve more shine on their own. And I think that probably could have took this match to the next level. But at the same time, it was still strong. It was still a great match. I think MSK is probably I don't know if this was their best defense, but it could have been, or at least close to one of them that I've seen so far. Again, MSK, I think they are who they are. I think we've talked about it once before. We really like Wesley, and I'm into it. And even, Nash Carter definitely has his positives, even though I think the problem, like I said, sometimes is you just get so wrapped up in how good Wesley is, it's hard to even think about Nash Carter sometimes. But at the same time, again, even with Legado, I'm more into what they have going on as characters as a tag team than I am than the current champion. Same thing with Thatcher and Ciampa, and even GYV. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I don't know what's next for the champs, but we will have to see. I didn't know what, as far as like what feud is next for the champ. I'm not sure after this, but at the same time, I thought this match was really good. I don't think it was anything wrong, but I can't wait to see, what type of what new options in the tag division, or what type of stipulations for new matches that they can come up with, because I do think that's one thing you have with MSK. They have the ability to be able to wrestle all types of matches. So I can't wait to see what else they can do in this run. But my moment of the match, I rewinded this manually myself to keep watching Bronson Reed squash Santos Escobar. It was just timed so perfectly, and I didn't see Reed. It came out of nowhere. It was just perfect. I love that moment.
That was a brilliant moment, honestly. That was GIF filled, that was. But like I said, my note is Wesley makes the rest look bad, and it is true. Really fun match, though. What I was thinking at this point, I was going, maybe there'll be like the 4 teams. That's obviously the dangerous. What do we call them? Dangerous Bastards.
The Dangerous Bastards.
I should have called them dangerous. I apologise for that. The Dangerous Bastards, MSK, Legado. I think would have made a really exciting 4-way match. But obviously, we'll see what happens as we move on to our last episode. Before that, a bit more news. This is more WWE. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, all part of NXT with Satan's Garrett. Oh, sorry, Satana Garrett. Satan's Garrett listening, I apologise, have all been released. What did you make of this? Because this is big talent this time.
Man, when I heard the Braun Strowman news, particularly first, I'm gonna go with him first. I was so shocked that I really was like, okay, something major is going on that we're not. I still feel that way. It's something going on internally. Maybe you could say it's budget cuts, and maybe it is, but it just feels like something else is going on, because when you make it to the heights that he has, even if you like him or you think he's one of the best wrestlers or not, you know what I mean? As a character and as far as importance goes, this man was just in a WWE title triple threat match main event weeks ago, and then he's gone. And it's just like, I can't. It was just unbelievably shocking. The Aleister Black one sucked too, because he just seemed like he was just getting incorporated into a storyline with Big E, and the next week now he's gone. I couldn't believe that. I thought it was a mistake, honestly. I thought people were playing around until I saw it everywhere, and I was like, okay, this is serious. Guys like Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black, and even Santana Garrett, who she's been employed for a while. So it's kind of, when you think about, just think, Aleister Black was one of the best NXT champions and just one of the best NXT characters and WWE characters, in my opinion, that they had. And the fact that they just let him go for nothing, not realize his worth, even if it is a budget cut situation, it's just, I can think of a couple of guys. I won't say any names, but it's some people that
Jackson
probably.
Riker. No, it's fine.
Okay, there you go. That's exactly what I was thinking. I might as well go ahead and agree with you. Definitely Jackson Riker. Why? Like, seriously, how does he keep his job, and then someone like an Aleister Black is one of the first ones on the chopping block, or whatever, or however you want to look at it. It's just insane. I couldn't believe the news, but honestly, when it comes to guys like Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black or Tommy End, they will be fine. I can't wait to see what they do on outside of WWE. I don't know what Braun has planned. I don't know who would even, I don't know what his future even has. I don't know. Maybe down the line he come back to WWE. Is always the door's always open for a return. We know how that works. By the way, I just want to say, before the Aleister Black release, I remember reading reports about Zelina coming back, and as soon as I saw that news, I was like, yeah, guess that's out the window.
That didn't work out. No, I'll say a couple of things, and I said this when the news broke, was like, it felt like someone had gone onto your general manager mode and released three of your most important people, and you've gone, what the fuck you done that for? And they go, what? You go, I just brought him back to feud with this guy. This guy was in a WrestleMania main event match, and now he's been in the main event of pay-per-view. Like, what you do? Oh, sorry, guy. Like, we just have to deal with it. And another thing is, there's obviously a huge disconnect between how they are in NXT and then how, obviously, look at Keith Lee. Look at that. Look at Keith Lee's treatment.
I was worried when the releases were coming. That was one of those names. I was like, oh my goodness, please don't tell me that's stupid that they're gonna get rid of Keith Lee. Same thing with Mia Yim. Mia Yim was at the beginning of this television run for NXT. She was all over NXT, having great matches, and doing a really good job in her role. Probably could have did more in NXT, and they pretty much have called her up to sit on the sidelines for the most part. Same thing with Keith Lee. It's insane.
It really is. But let's go back to NXT, because we've got one last episode, a go-home show for In Your House, June 8th. We open with video package Adam Cole and Cross's conversation last week, along with a rundown of tonight's card. It's time for the first match of the evening, which is Austin Theory versus Oney Lorcan. Of course, the fight last week, and then before the show, added to the fire. We see Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano arrive to back up their allies. With Johnny wrestling in his corner, Theory started to build momentum, slamming Lorcan repeatedly into the barricade. The Bruiserweight and Johnny wrestling began brawling, because you can't not have an NXT match without brawling happening now, it looks like. But in the code, Lorcan planted Theory with a half Nelson Uranagi to win. Thoughts on this match? It was a good match, but was it a surprise that Lorcan actually got the victory?
And I hate to say this because of how good he is, it's almost always a surprise when Lorcan wins, because he's been underappreciated for so long. And like you said, you can always see, especially with guys like Theory, that they have whether they're not acting on it right now, you can see the future in a guy like Austin Theory. So when he loses to a guy like Lorcan, it is kind of a head scratcher. But at the same time, with that being said, I think they believe that Theory's character will be fine, and Lorcan probably, needed this more so in this situation. I'm not really sure on that, but I thought the match itself was really good, and it also did a good job of incorporating, or at least like, to use the term you just used, added fuel to that fire when it comes to the 5-way with the Pete Dunne and the Gargano interaction. But yeah, I was definitely shocked that Lorcan won, but I thought this was solid still.
Yeah, I mean, if like I said, I enjoyed this. Really solid stuff. Modified Spanish Fly looked ace as well by Theory. And I know I don't do this often, but if I was going to pick a future star, a lot of people say, MJF, or a lot of other people as well. Ricky Starks is one of them in AEW. Right. I think Austin Theory, for me, in NXT, he's just, like I said, if you can be 100% in the character and learning from Gargano is going to be the best thing that is going to happen to him. So I will say, if I was, then again, I have picked Baron Corbin as a future WWE champion as well. So and that was about 4 years ago. So I'm saying my track record may not be the greatest. But right now,
you were referring to NXT Baron Corbin though, right?
I was NXT Corbin when he was doing the breaking ground things. They're talking about,
Yeah, I get it, because people. That's back to that disconnect. If you didn't watch NXT Baron Corbin, he is nowhere near as boring and as whatever you feel about the current Corbin. I don't know what the machine up top on the main roster has done to him. It's been a methodical. Just, we want you to hate this guy so much to where we're going to make you just disinterested altogether type of process when it comes to Corbin. But I understand exactly what you're saying, because Theory is like, 22, 23? Like, he's so young also, and he's already gets it in a lot of ways that people older than him still don't get it.
Well, I don't want to bring this up again, but why is Dunn so tanned? Like, is he topping up every week? Like, is that, again, I don't want to go on about it, but Anyway, we move on and we go to LA Knight's estate for a promo right from his shower. Ted, you talk about the $1 million legacy, and if you're talking about a guy to carry it, there's only one choice, LA Knight. Then we see in the hot tub with two models drinking champagne, practicing his $1 million laugh. They laugh at him until he tells them to knock it off. Next, he shows off his sports car, which pulls away in slow motion as he goes to a break. This was such an old-fashioned feel to it, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely a vignette. It has all the old vignette vibes. The poor, I'm glad you called them models because they definitely weren't actors. The laughs were obviously phony. I would have told those girls to shut up too. It was almost borderline annoying to me. So I got you, LA Knight. I understand it. But again, this got the point over. You got to see the hot tub, got to see him, live life. And again, that old school promo delivery, it worked to a T in my opinion. And I think maybe that just shows how old we are, that we can appreciate the little things that they throw into LA Knight's promos, especially that vignette right there. But but I loved it. I enjoyed that.
Well, talk about an old-fashioned feel. We then see Michael P.S. Hayes is on screen pretending to be Doc Hendricks again to promote TakeOver. He's screaming so loud, I'm afraid he might rip his throat out. But he didn't want to do it last year, but obviously he's back again. And we will see him later on in the show as well. Then we get a video package of last week's MSK tag title defense. We then see the Legado del Fantasma arrive to air grievances. Santos and Blade Bronson Reed for costing Mendoza and Wild the tag team champions. The Colossal One walked out and mocked Escobar by showing his splash on the barricade from last week repeatedly. MSK then backed him up. And then Escobar made a challenge for a 6-man tag team winner-take-all contest for both NXT championships, and the champion accepted for TakeOver. I like Santos stepping up, like we talked about. Shame Kushida won't be in a card. But it was a bit weird because the heels now or the faces have got everything to lose and nothing to gain. Yeah. Usually in that type of match, you'd be a champion on the one side, or just a case of nothing. Do you know what I mean? Is this match just for them to have a 6-man tag and say it actually means something when it just won't, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're trying to I think that the whole goal of this was to make a 6-man tag, a regular 6-man tag team match, but make it like TakeOver word. So we need to put something on the line or something of some sort, because that's the only way it makes sense to me. I agree. I don't understand why the babyfaces would even take this, that offer. Like, that's just dumb. You got, anything could happen, and now I'm not North American champion again, or vice versa with the tag team titles. So it's just I don't really understand it, from that standpoint. But also, I would also say this, that if in this scenario, I also don't like the fact that really it's predictable now. I will be really shocked. Not only is Bronson Reed a new champion, but it's just the way you would uncrown him as the champion would really disrespect all of that great storytelling you just told with him finally capturing the belt, and then you let Wes Lee or Nash Carter get pinned, and now he's no longer champion. I really don't want that to happen. So I really think the only way I'll be happy with the way this match would go is if it goes in a predictable fashion and the babyfaces prevail. I hate to be that guy, but I mean, honestly, that's what you kind of book yourself into a corner when you do it this way, in my opinion.
Well, not just that, but afterwards we see entering the ring, staring down the Legado del Fantasma and MSK and Bronson Reed, looking to make sure that they knew that the NXT gold is the goal of the crew, which again I thought was a little moment like that, but really kind of set up like you could look back at that moment in 6 months' time and go, that's where it started, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's another thing that kind of takes away from Legado's challenges is when you know that Hit Row is also eyeing those belts, and it makes more sense for them, especially in their current incarnation, to take the belt off those baby faces. But yeah, I really like that little tease too, because Isaiah, before we talked about it, we mentioned it in a promo, he already mentioned it, that he had his eye on whoever prevailed as North American champion. So I can't wait to see that, and also letting Top Dollar, letting Adonis get a good look at the tag team titles. It was a nice little teaser of what may be to come, and yeah, we will be looking at that down the line, because I'm just like you. I expect big things from Hit Row.
Swerve Scott was in action next against Killian Dane. Dane is accompanied to the ring by Maverick. Top Dollar planted poor Drake Maverick as Dane went for a Vader bomb, and the interference allowed Scott to hit a running corner single leg drop kick for the win. I will say one thing in this, and it's not a go at Scott. He hit a forearm on Dane, and Dane went down like big time. And I just thought, if Dane's a big man, or you want to wrestle like a monster, you don't go down on one strike off of someone like Swerve. And that's no disrespect to Swerve, but you know what I mean by that, don't you?
Yeah.
It just shows you, it's like when Big Show used to get beaten by Jeff Hardy in the early noughties and stuff like that, and Dane is going bald on top, but not bad. And this was more about Swerve. If I was Dane and Drake, I'd be like, shit, we're on our way down. These guys are on the way up. What's going to happen next?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't wait to see. But like I said, big things are definitely coming for Hit Row. But Killian Dane, like I said, every time I watch him, sometimes it's not to say he doesn't compel and he's not doing important things. I can't help but look at him and just want more for him. So like you said, when you point out certain elements of the match or how he thwarted or the short time that this match was given, it is, it does suck and it's frustrating for somebody like him because he is so good, in my opinion. And I don't even think he's even scratched the surface of how good he can be. And I don't know what's next for, Maverick and Dane, but at some point we're going to have to see, they're going to have to do something else, and I can't wait to see what that is.
Well, we see a video package of Poppy arriving earlier today. Can's Face says you have the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions here, and you talk about Poppy. That's horrible. That's terrible. Indy Hartwell said, I heard Dexter Lumis put on my headphones last week and cried. I think he still loves me. I'm going to go find him. And Ray's like, why is this still happening? And if that wasn't enough, now we have Cameron Grimes is having his turn at showing off his wealth. He does a cannonball into a giant pool, lights his cigar with a $100 bill, but coughs it up trying to smoke it, and then he chokes on the whiskey while he tries to drink it. And he actually pulls away the his voice, promising to be DiBiase's legacy to the moon. I love Grimes. This was brilliant,
Yes, it was great and unintentionally. I don't know, maybe it was intentional, but it was also just hilarious the entire time. I find myself a lot of times when Cameron Grimes on my TV screen just smiling in general before he even gets into whatever is going on. That's how good, or at least how happy his portrayal of this character makes me, because I just know something entertaining or something funny is gonna happen, and this was right in line also with that old school vignette earlier. So I just love that element also. It was just great. It was really well done.
Right. Well, we see the lights go down in the Capitol Wrestling Center, and Mercedes Martinez is at the top of the entry ramp, but Zia Lee jumps before she can head to the ring. Lee pummels her with kicks by the barricade, rips off her jacket and throws Martinez into the ring, but Martinez fires up with forearms and kicks Zia Lee out. Her opponent is just standing in the ring, watching all this happen. Martinez throws Lee over the barricade and gets back in the ring. So the bell. Her opponent is immediately hit with an air raid crash for the pin. The opponent was Amira Miller, aka Cameron Clay. There's not many times you see someone get beaten down for a match and then still winning it. But obviously, unlike we were talking about with L.A. Knight and Cameron Grimes, Martinez needs a victory to kind of build her up after kind of tasting defeat in big matches,
Yeah, I think that's what this was all about. She's lost a couple of big spots, and they want to, like you said, continue to build her up. And honestly, this is my whole standpoint. When the jobber decided not to attack her immediately upon her getting jumped, I knew this was not going to be long, and it wasn't.
Well, we see Breezango backstage with Mackenzie Mitchell. They're asking all the questions, though, not her. Bree says Imperium have sour grapes, and if they have to beat them on the way back to the tag titles, that's what they'll do, and leave him to deal with Walter's wrath afterwards. Fandango opens his shirt to show off his chest before leaving, and then Ted DiBiase is headed towards the ring for the segment after the break. I mean, if someone is just watching that 15 minutes of Indy Hartwell and then Cameron Grimes into a bit of Dexter Lumis, and then you're seeing Breezango, you're thinking, what the fuck? And then not only that, we go backstage, and Poppy is backstage winning Regal and Triple H. Hunter says that her theme songs have been great on NXT, but wants to know when a new album drops. Poppy says right now, and Hunter says, so you just push a button and the album drops? And Poppy says everywhere. Hunter's like, technology is amazing. Dexter Lumis walks in, stares at Poppy, and shows her a drawing. She accepts it with a quiet thank you and then gives him a hug. Oh, that is going to make Indy Hartwell insane. Speaking of which, she comes in on them hugging and loses her cool. Hunter says that was a little awkward. I mean, this was fun. The Regal's expressions were priceless. Triple H arm around Regal as well. Everything about this was brilliant.
Yes, it was perfect, man. It was so perfect. Like that, like you said, the facial expressions, the mannerisms of Regal, like he knew this was trouble, and the fact that I like even Loomis post everything, like post the hug, even when he realized that Indy was running away, his facial expression was even like, oh, yep, I effed up, I just screwed up this one, but yeah, I really like all the elements of it. By the way, I just want to say that if you had a socially awkward phase growing up and you wasn't really good at talking to women, if I knew all you had to do was just draw them, man, high school would have been so much easier.
That's true. Well, we move on, and Grimes pulls up for the priceless announcement, and Knight pulls up right at the same time. The chauffeur says, waiting for them both in the ring. Grimes makes jokes. You wonder in years to come which famous wrestler is playing security, either as they're there at the moment, or kind of breaking up all the fights as well. You look back in years to come and go, that guy's a 10-time WWE champion now. But anyway, we get Ted DiBiase's announcement. We see a solid gold ladder descending into the ring, which again is really dangerous, especially with DiBiase placed right underneath it. You kind of get that feeling it's a Wile E. Coyote thing happening, but it didn't. And then a hell of a promo by Grimes as well, talking about it, really getting the crowd behind him. And then you see the security team walking with a briefcase. We see it on a velvet draped pedestal. And DiBiase said, gentlemen, you both know what's inside. The both of you will fight, crawl, grab, use every fibre of energy and muscle in your body just so you can have this. He then opens up the briefcase, luckily, and then it reveals it to be the $1 million belt. Whoever wins on Sunday will become the new $1 million champion. DiBiase cackles as Grimes and Knights talks back to each other, and the music plays. This is we talked about an endgame, and it's just been delivered.
Yes, it was so great to finally see where this was all going. We mentioned, I think last time, maybe a managerial role for DiBiase or something like that. But I thought this is actually even better, because that's another thing about LA Knight and Grimes. They both are good enough characters, good enough on the mic to where they don't need a manager anyway. So I thought making it the $1 million championship, making them, either one of them, become the $1 million man is just such a great thing to have them to fight for. And it's I want to know, how far does this go? Is this going to become another one? Is just going to be just something like as a prop, just a belt to have, or is this going to be something that other people fight for as time goes on? When it happens. But I do want to let you know, this is kind of a small spoiler alert from when we kind of break down the card. There's no way in hell that Cameron Grimes should lose this match. I'm too invested in the nice theme song. I'm too invested in his millionaire role now. I will be so angry if he loses.
Well, I will say Ted looks better every week, but why are these wrestlers in this story not on Raw? I mean, how much would that improve it? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think everyone I know, I enjoyed this. This is just brilliant. It's just one of these things. But we then see all five men in the five-way face-off fighting backstage. Willie Regal's irate, he breaks it up. Enough of this. No more. You've done it for a month. It ain't going to fucking stop now, is it? Do you know what I mean? We see Ever Rise hosting a pre-show on Sunday. Good old Bucks. I'm starting to like them. And then the Grizzled Young Veterans versus August Gray and Eichmann Giro. It appears that James Drake and Zach Gibson begin a chance to pick up a win tonight at 205 Live at Spence. But don't touch Giro's jacket. And just as the Grizzled Young Vets get the upper hand, Ciampa and Thatcher come down with chairs and settle them to watch a match with new T-shirts as well. And this T-shirt I could see, and I thought it was quite funny because it's Ciampa holding Thatcher's face when they're wrestling with both with a smile on their face. It works really well. We see Ticket to Mayhem. It was slightly longer than a squash, but it was all the same. And then afterwards, the what is it again? Dangerous Bastards are there, and they are saying that they want to face Grizzled Young Vets, and they're going to have a Tornado tag match next week. We've got a few squashes tonight. And I really like the style of Gibson's boots. They look like football boots. I like the stripes that he had there.
Right.
But Grizzled Young Vets need a big win. What are your thoughts on what happened and what's going to happen, obviously, when they face off as well?
Yeah, I thought, again, GYV did a really good job. I wasn't really familiar with Argus Gray's partner. I was wondering why he decided to wrestle this entire match with a jacket on. Small thing that that I noticed. But anyway, besides the point, Argus Gray looked good in the little time that he had too. By the way, in a couple of spots, even though, like you said, the finish was inevitable and it went how we figured. I was kind of bummed out that this match was not added to TakeOver also. It's more of a next week thing, but I also know that they don't like to go too much over a certain number of matches when it comes to TakeOver. So I let that slide. And either way it go, I think the Ciampa Thatcher versus GYV match will be a sight to see. And I love them adding a tornado element. This is something that maybe that make me feel old when I say it, but I love tornado tag matches. I don't understand why they're such a rarity in professional wrestling. Like I want to see more tornado tag, man. I know it's chaos a lot of times, but it's usually really, really good. And as much as I love the traditional tag match style, I love tornado tag matches. So I can't wait to see what these four guys get to do in that format.
Tornado tag's not been around for 10 years. No. So anyway, we on Candice LeRae called Poppy out for hurting her friend and trying to take the spotlight. Poppy arrived and made clear she does not wrestle. She instead had a friend who would fight for her. We're getting no pop decks, there's no doubt, but we get Io Shai's music. She's back. She is so fucking cool. I cannot believe it. She screams and circles Poppy as she makes her way to the ring. Poppy helps her disrobe, as would I, and she jumps in the ring to hit a double leg takedown at 619. LeRae is really top rope missile drop kick. LeRae bows and Shai celebrates with Poppy. It is great back. NXT is better with its biggest star. What were your thoughts on Io's return?
It's always nice to see Io Shirai. Like you mentioned, she's definitely still the coolest, still badass. NXT is her realm as long as she there. She is, like, in my opinion, definitely the ace. Even with the Gonzalez, and even with Gonzalez as champion and their feud and all of that, I really liked what happened after this segment with them. Getting a chance to kind of look at each other on backstage. I love seeing that shot. And, Io's attitude, even in that segment, was just so damn awesome. Like, everything she does is cool, like we mentioned all the time. But I will say this. Other than for the purpose of seeing Io Shirai, I was not really surprised by the comeback, because I don't think I've ever seen Poppy on the show without some involvement with Io Shirai. So it wasn't really that. I guess I kind of...
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, what I mean? Spoiler. Like, Poppy's here? No way Io won't show up some way, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah.
Yeah, Motorhead show up,
cool.
And you're going, yeah.
Yeah, always cool to see him, though.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, during the commercial break, we see Gonzalez and Kai, Kai's got a match next, staring a hole through Io. That's a really cool moment. And it led to Kai versus Ember Moon. And the captain of Team Kick did repeated damage to the War Goddess that built up in the corner kick that almost ended it. But Moon finally responded with a powerbomb outside. Gonzalez missed a big boot, leading to Moon hitting Kai and Gonzalez for a suicide dive. This set up the Eclipse, but the NXT Women's Champion struck first, part of the challenge for disqualification. And afterwards, War Goddess attacked both heels. She then reversed a single arm powerbomb into a stunner, followed by the Eclipse again to Gonzalez. I really, really like this, and Gonzalez's smile is so disconcerting because she will fuck you up. What did you think of this? And Moon looked great in the end as well.
Yeah, I think Gonzalez again looks awesome as always, and just it's obviously the champion. And but I really love how they established. Maybe if you haven't been watching for years or you don't know how dangerous Ember Moon can be, and I think they did a good job of letting you know that she is a threat, and also that she could be a two-time NXT Women's Champion, and I think she looked completely on Gonzalez's level this entire time when in the past, when you've dealt with champions or people like Gonzalez, she can just overwhelm most of the people she fought easily. I think this match will be a good test to see. I would love to see how competitive this match actually ends up being, whether Gonzalez dominates or how much offense does Moon get a chance to get in. Is it going to be more of a back and forth situation, kind of like we saw with EO with the championship match? We'll see. But I think either way it goes, we're in for a treat on TakeOver.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, like I said, it wasn't a bad match. Moon looked strong. Kai didn't eat a pin. And Moon can be put in the spot, like we talked about with Johnny Gargano earlier, because of her history in NXT title matches. And her matches with Asuka are up there for me as my favourite matches that I've ever watched. I'm lucky enough to see one of those matches in person, front row, when they came over here. And it sticks with me to this day. And like I said, remember Moon, fantastic talent as well. And also, but I will point out the commentary team as well, because these are my favourite team by far. Obviously, Vic Jones, Wade Barrett, Beth Phoenix, talking about the Women's Championship match on NXT UK as well, which I thought was really, really nice touch. And then we see brawls broke out between NXT title contenders throughout the night. Obviously, Regal can't stop them, and it spilled to the ring where Regal took down Cross until the contenders started appearing. Again, I felt sorry for Regal in this one, but Kyle O'Reilly stood up to the NXT champion while Johnny Gargano watched on the announce table, and Pete Dunne told everyone to shut up. Adam Cole taunted everyone from an undisclosed location and then disappeared before a fight started. Everyone struggled to knock down the champion, even when security got involved, who were thrown like lawns. Like you said, champions are going to be thrown around the ring there. Cross stood tall over the crowd until Adam Cole attacked and laid out the champion with a super kick and the last shot. So the last shot we got before In Your House was Adam Cole, baby. What were your thoughts on this?
I thought this was a great segment. It was very, very. Everyone looked good in my opinion. Cross still looked strong because he just battled, four of the contenders, and still was left standing. And then Cole looked really good and also smart. I just want to say he definitely outsmarted everyone, because I can't be. Please tell me I wasn't the only one who knew he was in the building. It wasn't just Vince. There was no way they were gonna all start fighting and he wasn't gonna show his face up. And predictably so. Again, sometimes it can be predictable, but that's one of those things where it's not like, oh man, I knew this was gonna happen. It's a drag. It's one of those situations where it's like, he better show up because he's always one step ahead. So it fits his character for him to be there. And that's exactly what it was. And he's a heel. Heels lie. So it's a great. But it works in every way it could. Go again.
No, but I say, like you're saying, it showed every character, because it was Cross, who was in the middle of the ring, standing dominant and saying, anybody comes in here, I'll take him out. Gargano on the announce table because he's a bit of a heelish as well. Dunn doesn't give a fuck, so he's on the apron. Kyle O'Reilly being the babyface he's on the apron as well, trying to fight. And like you said, Adam Cole coming in at the end, showing what he's about. And I saying, Adam Cole with the NXT title just looks right. And I know the multi-man match favours the champion, but in my head I'm thinking Cole could become champ, and I'd be quite happy with that, actually.
I agree, and I think it'll be a creative way to not only dethrone Cross, because he doesn't have to be involved, he's still gonna be protected, but it also can lead to like a combination of maybe a Cross Cole one-on-one encounter. And I still think we may get that. We should get that down the line, no matter what happens in this match. I agree 100%. Adam Cole will be a perfect pick, and he's that guy. On the mic, he's that guy. He's great in the ring. He's one of those guys that have it all. He's one of those guys that, just like EO in a sense, especially with what we've been talking about overall, with a lot of the things that we've seen, with that disconnect of how you've been presented in NXT and how you can be presented on the main roster. I would love Adam Cole to stick around as long as possible, and I'm sure he would too.
Well, the thing that got me with that was, we joked about it like last week when Cross and Cole stood face to face in the ring, and Cole you don't think of him as short, right. You put him in the ring with a Randy Orton who's 6'2" or whatever it is, he's gonna look quite small, and it's going to be quite, and Vince McMahon or whoever's going to see it and go, oh, actually, maybe not.
Right.
And like I said, with Johnny Gargano, if he's like the Bret Hart, then Adam Cole's like the Shawn Michaels of the NXT, and it can only be a good thing if he's around. One thing we should take a note of as well, William Regal. I mean, not only is he pissed, the reactions, he's like he's having a stroke when they're all going at ringside. I wonder if that's going to play into it.
I think at some point he's going to have to do something. Like I said, Cross made a great point with that. This show has been out of control a long time. There's a lot of things going on. I think one thing, even just listening to you break down what took place on these shows, if it's a drinking game on this, here go a new drinking game for everyone listening to the show. However many times James said brawl, take a sip, and I promise you, you will understand. Like, that's how out of control the show is.
I fucking love this show. It's the best fucking thing I've ever seen. It's not great. But like you said, it's true. But what have you thought? We round it up. NXT has been funny and good for me this month. What are your thoughts on NXT this month? Because obviously maybe the ratings, maybe not as good. I mean, the ratings, we've got 669,000 viewers, so up about 10,000, which is not great. But what is your personal opinion on NXT this past month? Just reviewing it now.
Yeah, I think NXT is they're still in a transitional period after like the Finn Balor reign, the Io Shirai reign, and I think the shows are still, like you said, funny. And from a storytelling standpoint, it's been some of the best stuff on television. Between SmackDown and a lot of the storytelling that they've been doing with Roman Reigns and the stuff that's going on in NXT, those are some of the best stories that I've been able to enjoy on a weekly basis when it comes to wrestling. So I love what they've been doing storytelling wise. It's not always the most. It's not always the most. Like 30 minutes of grappling type of wrestling. NXT UK, for example. Not saying they're just all wrestling, but when their show is centered a lot of times more about what's going on in the ring. Same thing with like New Japan, same thing. It's centered about what's going on in the ring more so. And I think NXT does a good job of mixing it up. So the last few shows, I really love what they've been doing from a storytelling standpoint, from a setting up thing standpoint. But we all know what's going to happen when we're going into a takeover. The in-ring work is probably about to blow the roof off, whatever your expectations could be going into it, whether you've been watching or you haven't been watching. So I think even though we have the ratings, a lot of people, when they know a takeover is coming, they're still going to go watch that takeover, whether they've been watching every week or not. So I can't wait, and I think that's another element. Every time that we do these wrap-up shows, these review shows, NXT does a really good job of getting me invested into what's going to happen at the takeover. And I think that's the goal, if you break it down for these weekly shows, is always to get people invested into your pay-per-views or to your specials.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, that's an excellent point, and I think with takeovers as well, you can build it up, talk it up as much as you want. They always do deliver. So finally, speaking of takeover, let's just go run through the takeover card, because we know we've got a singles match, Mercedes Martinez versus Zia Lee, of course, with a history for the Mae Young Classic. Will this open the show, and will this just basically be kind of one-sided, or how do you see this match playing out?
I think I think it would be a disservice to either character if it is one-sided on either way. Because Mercedes has lost a lot of these big match situations so far in her run as of recent time, and she hasn't really been able to win. So she needs this, but at the same time, if you think about what Zia Lee needs overall, I think she needs it a little bit more. So I'm expecting a competitive back and forth match, but I think at the end of the day, Zia Lee with her new mystical endurance and all of that, I think she should prevail, and it would do her great. It would do her character. It would give her, a great jumping pad to something next, something new. I don't know if a title shot is down the line for that character, especially with Martinez, being heel, not Martinez, Gonzalez being heel, and even though she kind of straddles that line sometimes, I still don't necessarily know what that means for the future for Zia Lee, but I think for her character, for this character, it'd be nice if she got this victory.
All right, Adele. We get the $1 Million Championship ladder match as well. Cameron Grimes versus LA night. I think it would be fair to say that if Grimes loses, we both riot. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And me and my friend Mark will stop watching. To quote Triple H years back. But no, I'm just playing. But the point is, yes, I think we're on the same page there. It's only $1 million man in NXT, and that is Cameron Grimes for my money.
I am expecting something special in that one because I don't think people are thinking much of it. I think we're going to see either a bump or something like this that's going to be very, very interesting. It's a takeover match. It's a ladder match. You know, I just think there's going to be something there. What about the winner-take-all match for the NXT Tag Team Championship and North American titles? Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. Do you see any surprises in this one?
This is one of those matches actually I'm not expecting a surprise. Yeah, like I think LA Knight is probably gonna shock some people with what he can do athletically in that ladder match. So I can, to kind of go back on that. In this match, I don't know where a surprise will be coming from because I doubt the finish will be a shock. I'm pretty sure the baby faces will do what they need to do. But maybe who knows? Maybe it'll go under the radar and it'll be a nice. It'll fit well within the show. But theoretically, right now, I'm not expecting it to be like I'm expecting this to probably not even be as exciting as Ali and Mercedes, but we'll see.
What about the NXT women's match? Of course, Raquel Gonzalez, one of the most dominant women's champions of all time in NXT versus Ember Moon, but Ember Moon knows something about dominant women's champion. Maybe she couldn't get the job done against Asuka, but has she got Gonzalez's number?
Yeah, I think that's one of those elements. Like I said, Ember Moon has the credibility, has the work rate to threaten Gonzalez's reign, but I think overall Gonzalez will be a little bit too much, and I think that threat will be the entertainment. Like how close can Ember actually get? Can she keep the the giant in a sense in this retrospect with Gonzalez? Can she keep her down? Can she overcome that power? And I don't know. All I know is that either way it goes, if an Eclipse is hit, I don't think Gonzalez is kicking out. And if that power bomb that Gonzalez, if she hits that, no, I don't think Ember is kicking out. So I think that's one thing that's really exciting. Like who's going to hit that, super protected finisher first? And will we hit that? Now, as a matter of fact, that will shock me if Raquel will be one of the first people I've seen kick out of it.
The thing is, and this is probably going to blow your mind now as well, is the fact is that Gonzalez can get reversed from that powerbomb with Moon. She's proved it the past couple of weeks. She's got an answer to that. The question is, like you said, has Gonzalez got an answer to the Eclipse? And if she hits it, will it be lights out on that one? And then finally, NXT Championship, proper build. See, proper grade A build. This is finally the main event of NXT Takeover in your house. It's going to be a fatal five-way. Of course, Karrion Kross the champ versus Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano versus Kyle O'Reilly. It should be a hell of a main event. What are your thoughts on how this is going to play out?
Yeah, I'm expecting them all guys to kill it. I think everyone's going to have their moments to shine. I think this is going to flow really well. You got guys like Gargano and Cole who are great ring generals. Pete Dunne, who's going to probably do something gnarly to, he may single out, I don't know, hopefully Cross. It'd be nice to see how much him and Cross actually get a chance to touch in this particular spot. But I think I'm definitely expecting him to single out someone, maybe a Kyle O'Reilly, because he's probably pretty much the only, white meat babyface, if you want to, if they even exist anymore in this situation. So, maybe he'll target him and hurt him or do something. I'm expecting a lot of different elements to this match, but at the end of the day, I'm also expecting Cross to still prevail. And the only reason why I say that is because what proves that he is everything that they say he is and not everything that Adam Cole reinforced, then other than him just beating everyone. I don't know if he's going to stack them a la Roman Reigns, but I can see him ending up choking out, maybe O'Reilly or Gargano in the end.
Well, the thing is about this Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, is their head in the game. Are they actually focus on the prize, or are they going to focus on each other? And is that going to split it up then? You would think Pete Dunne involved, would he be the one to eat the pinfall victory? It probably will be Johnny Gargano, who's got so much. Like I said, even if he was to get pinned here, you would probably say, oh, okay, but he can recover from that. But then you throw in the question of Johnny Gargano, is it, who's going to be in this match? It's going to be Johnny Takeover, and
Yeah.
that man is
Yeah.
a different animal, you know.
Yeah, he's hard to put away. That's fair.
So, like you said, when that's that. Looking over the card, I mean, like I said, it looks a good card on paper. We're speaking about. Obviously, we've built up the excitement for this, but is it lacking, or is it too predictable? Is that a problem with this card?
I think to an extent, yes. I think at least out of every match, the least predictable match is obviously the Fatal 5-Way. And then, maybe you can, like I said, if you can see Ember winning, but at the same time, that can be kind of predictable with how dominant Gonzalez has been. And then, like I said, I'm not sure Rosiah Lee, but other than that, everything else is kind of like, okay, I think we can see where this is going. So that may hurt this card. I think, like we always say, you just have to prepare and expect for the best when it comes to these takeovers, because they always seem to do it. But I will say this, I don't necessarily know how well this will stack up with other cards. But I also remember enjoying the In Your House theme last year, and I think that's something that's going to give a great element. I've even heard Johnny Gargano hinting at him doing a Shawn Michaels like entrance. Is this the year to come off the In Your House set? So who knows? Fly into the arena that way. Who knows, man? It definitely can be some memorable moments just along with the set and with the theme of the takeover. But I don't know. Like you said, it is predictable. I think that's taken away from maybe a little bit of the hype, but I'm still expecting a good show.
The thing is with takeovers is you might think it's predictable, but there's always one spanner in the works. There's always going to be one match that maybe not go the way that people think. And also with takeover, you can, I could say it's going to be one of the greatest takeovers of all time, and it will deliver an in-ring perspective. And there's no doubt about that. And that's what's so great about it. We've spent nearly 3 hours talking, running through the last month of NXT, going about takeover, and I'm actually ready now. If someone said to me, "Oh, you and Monty can watch takeover right now," I would sit here for another 2.5 hours and do it. Unfortunately, we can't. We have to wait till Tuesday, because that's when we'll be back to do NXT Takeover in your house. And I can't wait. Are you ready for that now?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm have my tablet next to me, ready to jot down everything, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Especially, like I said, I'm salivating to see the many different outcomes and what everyone comes up with when it comes to that Fatal 5-Way. Man, I really like how they built up to that main event, so I'm just excited, and I can't wait for our show, man. Let's do it.
Without a doubt. Like I said, today we've cooked it. It smells fantastic, and on Tuesday we will taste it. But until then, that's it. Don't forget, across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Monty, do you want to just plug your stuff?
All right, at my Monty Pod, M-I-N Monty, Monty Pod. So on Twitter, and that's pretty much where you can find me. I'm a full-fledged contributor at this point to the WNR Podcast, but I do have my own podcast called the Mind of Monty Podcast that you can seek out on all podcasting platforms. So, yeah, just check me out, and I can't wait to see you Tuesday, my guy. Or hear from you.
Like I said, I cannot wait. And anybody that doesn't listen to Monty's own podcast, I will find you. I've got a certain set of skills. You can find the WNR on Facebook and Instagram. Of course, send all your hate emails to the WNR Podcast at gmail.com. Show, and of course YouTube WNR Podcast with all latest clips and podcasts. Same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone, and Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that's it. Our next episode, we're doubling up, because Monty will be back for NXT Takeover in your house. Until then, I've been James Rowlands. I was joined by the fantastic Monty. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I always do. Thank you. I can't wait till the next show.
Well, until then, like I said, we've both been us. So that is it for now. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.
Adios.